GPVWC 2020 is go!
It's been a long time coming, ladies and gentlemen, but we are back. The Grand Prix Virtual World Championship Sim Racing 2021 season is on, and we are back in business once again. It's been a while for me to say this, but I'm delighted and privileged to be back with you all. Jake Sanson here from the Broadcast Bunker, and beside me is GPVWC racer and expert pundit Tom Parker. Tom, finally we get to enjoy GPVWC racing in the Super League once again with this test session and season preview. I can't wait, mate.
I've got a big smile on my face. I am absolutely buzzing, not just for obviously not just for Super League, obviously for all of the series we have here at GPVWC. Like I said, it's been a long winter since that last race in Brazil for 2020, obviously crowning Adam Maguire as our champion. I can't wait. I'm buzzing. I really am. Can't wait. We've got new regulations, we've got new teams, we've got new drivers, we've got new circuits, which we'll get onto later. I just can't wait.
Yeah, a vague apology from me for my absence of late. My European karting commitments really took me out of the game for a while, but for 2021, there are new plans, there are new opportunities for me to delve back into GPVWC again. I was asked a few weeks ago, would I return? And you know me, it's very hard to turn down GPVWC when they come a-calling. Yes, it was only one answer, and it was only ever going to be one answer. It's a delight to be back with you, and I'm just like you, Tom, I'm seriously excited. We've come to the Buriram Circuit in Thailand for this testing session. It's a track that hasn't been used in the Grand Prix Virtual World Championship since 2019, back in the World GT days. God, they seem a million years ago, but very fondly remembered. It's never been used in the career ladder before. Ideal in a way then for these guys to test their paces with a bit of a different challenge that they won't be experiencing during the career ladder itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, like pre-season goes on for in Super League anyway, we have 4 test sessions, and the 4 test sessions we have obviously don't use the tracks we use in the career ladder this year. So we have had, I can't remember off the top of my head what we've had, but this would be a nice track for them all to use. One that we don't usually use at all in the series, like you said, 2019 World GT is the last time we've been here. So it's a bit of a unique one as well. So 2 long straights and then 3 long straights actually, if you think about it, really. So good for them to test out their top speed, and obviously you've got the tight twisty bits in the middle as well. So get some initial setup work obviously going on. Obviously we'll be using the stock cars for now before we have any upgrades going on, which will happen later in the season. But yeah, it's good to get your eye in, see what the car feels like, see if there's anything you can try to change on the base setup, and then go from there, really.
Here on the line for a couple of hours. If you're watching along with us, a great evening and good welcome to you wherever on earth you are watching from. Do send us some messages and some chats in the YouTube. If there are any questions, which I definitely won't be able to answer, I will direct them towards Tom, and if anyone else can answer them in the chat as well, do please be social, and let's have a wonderful evening's interaction. We're a brilliant community here in the Grand Prix Virtual World Championship, and long may it continue. We're going to crack on while you're watching the cars get some testing mileage under their belts. Their liveries pretty much not updated yet. They're all being revealed in due course, and you'll get to see them in their glorious 2021 race-ready preparation liveries at Melbourne, which is just a week away, ladies and gentlemen. You haven't got long to wait. We're going to talk you through the motions of what's new and what's changed compared to the 2020 season. We're going to start with some of the musings and rumblings in the Super League paddock, Tom. There's been some interesting gossip in the off-season. Let's work our way through various bits and pieces. We're going to start with the interesting ins and outs of the technical direction.
Yeah, so obviously in Super League and for Super League Lights as well, we have bidding on staff members. Obviously, as we know, we have an R&D system here in the league, so we have to upgrade your car throughout the season. And yesterday was the first round of bidding for the Super League for their technical directors. Obviously, very, very important when you're trying to update a car. You want to get as good a technical director as possible. And 10 teams were successful out of the 4 team in getting their drivers and getting their technical directors, sorry. What is most interesting, though, of those 4, 3 of them, the team formerly known as Vodball, so GSR, VBM, Adonis, and Evolution. These 3 teams have all been the champions, basically, since 2017. So the reigning world champions, as it were, all haven't got a technical director yet. So along with Green Stripes, who also are, incidentally, a race winner as well in recent times. So that's 4 big teams not having a technical director after the first round. Quite big, really. The second round of bidding is today. So hopefully the next their next choice today. But they're all, I know at least 3 of the teams, the 3 champions recently, were going after one particular technical director, Philip Charbonneau. who was previously with the Abruzzi VBM team last year, and Scuderia Brasilia actually ended up getting them. So, yeah, Scuderia Brasilia have stolen the march on the other teams already this season, in this off-season.
Now, let's put this into layman's terms. Obviously, the hardcore nuts of GPVWC will understand straight away what the implications of this are. But for the layman's, this is essentially going to potentially produce a championship akin to when Brawn GP stormed in 2009 and upset the apple cart. A completely new form book and a completely new playing field could be part of the structure of 2021.
Yeah, so absolutely. So, for example, Burst Esport haven't taken over the flag-to-flag. Haven't taken over the flag-to-flag outfit. Cameron Rogers still actually the owner of that. But, for example, they've come in and they've got a very, very good driver in Simitic. Obviously, we'll go on through the teams and their drivers later. But obviously, they've got Simitic and Panzer in their team. I mean, who knows? They could come up. I mean, flag-to-flag are quite successful in their own right, obviously. But now they've got more backing with Burst coming in and the better drivers. You could see them making a good chance. Obviously, they've got the engineer they want. So they will also have a plan on what they want to do. And like you're right, I mean, maybe not quite as much as Brawn GP. Obviously, dear to my heart. I love that year. But yeah, you can see someone like Burst really, really challenge for the title out of nowhere, really. So it would be really good to see.
Now, while we're talking about things that have changed since 2020, you watching along at home, the steely-eyed and hardcore junkies of GPVWC will, of course, be well aware that the graphics have had a major overhaul for the 2021 season. You're going to see more of them as they develop over the course of the year. But this is where I really want to give a bit of a shout out to the GPVMG, the virtual media group of the Grand Prix Virtual World Championship. And we need to give a massive shout out to the people behind the scenes who have made this work. Head of Media, Jack Mayer, the Deputy Head of Media, Josh Downard, and of course the broadcast management team, Chris Williamson, Menno Clant, and of course Mr. Will Panisi themselves, as well as all the members of the broadcast team as they currently stand heading into the 2021 season. Argo Teder, who is providing our camera work for us tonight, and the likes of Caitlin Penny, George Whitehouse, Gerrit de Vries, Joshua Anderson, Liam DeWaal, Rodrigo Carvalho, Ryan Elliott, Shimon Freilich, Wopke Hoekstra, Yusuf Bin Soyal, and then the likes of Ewan Gale, Hygo Poom, Pedro Gomez, Rob Mason, and yourself, Tom. I mean, we've got an incredible team of people who are going to be working behind the scenes to make sure that this is the best darn year that we've ever had for the Grand Prix Virtual World Championship. It needs a little bit more push in terms of the media side of it, and straight in there in 2021, it's already looking 10 times stronger.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the viewers won't know, but we had a meeting with Jack the other day, and you'll agree with me, we were looking at some of the graphics and we were like, wow. I mean, obviously I've been part of GPV since 2009 and I've never seen anything like this. It's absolutely amazing. Jack, obviously having been promoted to part of the management team as well in the last month or so, has really, really taken this on board and has done a absolutely fantastic job. And I don't think any more thanks can go to him to what he's done. He's done an amazing job. And like I said, everyone who has provided us with videos, with music, with the graphics themselves, like all people in that team so far have done a cracking job, and it can only get better. Like obviously we've got more things planned, more adverts, more videos, more music planned for the season opener even in Melbourne in a couple of weeks' time. So really, really looking forward to it. And obviously you forgot yourself there, Jake. So you've got to big yourself up a little bit. Come on.
We never blow our own trumpets. I'm just delighted to be involved. It's been great fun. I wish I could have been involved every year in every race that I've been involved since 2015, but we've always tried to get the opportunities to come back, and I think it's always been a bit of a passion of GPVWC to try and get me back in at any possible opportunity. I'm just so glad that this year we were able to make it all work, and it fits into my schedule, and it finally works in a brilliant way. So yes, I'm very excited. Right, enough self-proclamation. Let's walk on to the world of the GPVWC calendar for 2021. There are some new venues returning. I say new venues returning, obviously, but it's worth going into this in some detail because obviously we have Australia, which will take place just over a week from now. On the 11th of March is when things get started. So after the weekend coming up, after this one, that's when we will drop the ball rolling for the first weekend. And obviously the activities actually start next week, of course, Tom. But there's some interesting circuits on the calendar this year.
Yeah, so obviously said we start in Australia, Melbourne, 11th of March for the Super League race. Like I said, we start in Melbourne on Monday, actually, for the Academy Series, and then obviously Formula Challenge, Super Cup. Super League Lights and Super League will be following on the Tuesdays or Thursdays following that. And then we go to Bahrain, Sakir, one of the big favourite of the calendar, really. And then returning to the Korea for the first time since 2018 is China. So new track, a track with some of the teams who haven't actually driven there before in this series, for them to get their heads around. Obviously, a unique circuit in itself with such a long back straight. And then the big one, I think, is the next one. If you want to tell us about the next track, that's up in the calendar, round 4.
Well, indeed, there's going to be quite a few drivers in the modern era who won't have heard of this circuit because it was last used in Formula 1 in 2013 and certainly hasn't been used in the GPVWC in the Super League. And that is Bud, just outside New Delhi for the Indian round of the championship, round 4. I have to say I'm really looking forward to it. It was always a circuit that I felt didn't really get the chance to shine and develop as a proper venue. So great to see the GPVWC taking it on for the first time in Super League. Then we return to Baku, one of the most incredible new circuits in Grand Prix racing in the last few years. Back to Spielberg or the Red Bull Ring, depending on how partisan your passion for the circuit is. And then, of course, we go to the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal. It's always been my personal favourite virtual race circuit in the Grand Prix world to race on. I always seem to do better there than anywhere else. I don't know why. And then, of course, we have Silverstone for the British Grand Prix and Hockenheim in Germany before a welcome return to Magny-Cours, Tom, for the first time since 2013.
Yeah, and I was there when I last raced there. That's how long I've been here. But yeah, Magny-Cours, obviously Paul Ricard, I think it's safe to say not one of the favourites, both in the real or virtual world. And we thought, you know what, why not? Let's bring Magny-Cours back. I think it's been very well received. France, obviously, one of the best producers of racetracks in the world. Magny-Cours, it's a classic. It's a nice, short, sharp. I mean, something a bit different. Obviously, it's going to be lap times probably in the 1:10, maybe even less. So, ought to be a good track for the teams to get their head round.
Now, there's an interesting end to the calendar. We have 6 races after Magny-Cours. We obviously have the regular staples, Spa, Monza. Singapore is going to be there once again around the Marina Bay circuit. Suzuka, you couldn't really have a GPVWC calendar without it, could you? The Circuit of the Americas in the United States and finishing off on the 21st of October at Interlagos in Brazil. One of the interesting ones there that we do have to talk about a little bit, which is an interesting talking point, Tom, is the absence from the calendar of Monaco. Now, a lot of people might think that obviously Monaco is a venue that you can't really do a Grand Prix season without. You certainly can't do a Formula 1 season without it these days. But from a sim racing and a GPVWC Super League point of view, Tom, there's quite a lot of reasons for it, but there's also quite a lot of reasons against it.
Yeah, so we dropped the Monaco from the calendar last year. Personally, I mean, it's speaking from personal experience, I've never really enjoyed racing around Monaco. That's more of a preference thing. I can see, like you said, the arguments for it. Obviously, it's a driver's circuit. It's if you can win there, you're one of the best. This is a cool jewel in the crown. But this is sim racing. We're here for the show. We're here for the fun. And you can't overtake a Monaco. It's hard. I mean, thinking back to my race in Super League 2018 there, I went from 26th to 8th, I think. Partly because of the strategy I did, partly because people just kept crashing, and it's just one of those things that I don't think it makes for a good show. Honestly, I think it's very split opinion on whether it should be in a thing. We've got Azerbaijan, we've got Wolves there for that. It's fine.
And Singapore, of course, as well.
Yeah, and we've got Singapore. Yeah, it's easier to. I enjoy driving those 2 tracks more. I really do. And like I said, I can see the argument for it, but I mean, I don't think it was missed last year personally. And I think it'll be one of those things. Maybe it'll come back in the future. Who knows? But for now, for this year, no Monaco. Let's have a new jewel in the crown. We'll bring Paul Ricard back and make that our jewel in the crown. I'm sure that'll go down really well.
Yeah, fascinating. I mean, we're only 17 minutes into the broadcast, and I'm already about to give an opinion. Dangerous, I know. But interesting, isn't it, that Monaco in the sim racing world, it doesn't seem to be a necessity, does it? I mean, I kind of feel in a way that the Monte Carlo street circuit, it kind of is up there with the street circuit at Po or the street circuit at Macau. I mean, it's fabulous for the small cars, but for huge Grand Prix cars, it's completely unsuitable, in my own personal opinion. I think you could probably have a lot more fun in the Academy than you probably could in Super League. But that, again, that's a debate that could rumble on forever and a day. I wonder what your take is on it. Are you going to miss Monte Carlo? Do you want it to return in 2022 or 23? Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to pick up the conversation and keep that rolling. So do please give us your views. Right, onwards, we will continue with the Super League chat and banter. Engines and regulation changes. Now, the first thing we need to discuss to a certain extent here, Tom, is that there is a new engine supplier coming in for the 2021 season. Tell us about Minotaur.
Yeah, Minotaur, new supplier for the 2021 season, replacing Talos, who will obviously run by Hawkeye, who withdrew at the beginning of the 2020 season. So we had a slot on the engine tender process, so we went through that. And to, I think, nobody's surprised, and I'm quite surprised they weren't actually an engine tender before. Minotaur won, and they are supplied by Red Archer. So Red Archer, one of the staple teams of the league, had been around longer than I have, I think, actually, obviously run by Nikos Evangelidakis. What's interesting, actually, which I think maybe a record for a new supplier, is they are supplying 5 of the 14 teams on the grid. That's over a third of the grid, which, I mean, talk about putting your faith in a new team. I mean, Red Archer are well known, and Nikos is well known for being one of the best around in terms of R&D updates for the car. So, I mean, I'm very confident he will produce an incredible engine alongside the teams who currently have an engine. Obviously, Kazar, run by Edge, Valiant, run by GSR VBM, and the other team, the one that popped off. Oh, Adonis is Reventon, which make up the other one. So interesting to see who will do the goods there. Obviously, Valiant only doing the GSR VBM team as was last year. So yeah, we good to see Minotaur on the grid, powering over a third of the grid. And who knows, maybe they'll get their first win in the Super League sooner rather than later. Obviously, powering Evolution, who obviously were a former world champion, obviously with Adonis winning it last year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do.
Fascinating that we bring up Adonis, because on your screen we actually have Liam DeWaal at the wheel of the car at the moment. You can also see in the inset as well, Germano Zappala is in the car at the moment for the Scuderia Brasilia squad. Fascinating. Again, we're going to see a little bit more of this sort of F1 pit lane channel style of coverage for this year. Really, really excited to see how it continues. I think we're going to see a lot more strength from the coverage in 2021. Right, we're going to talk to you a little bit more about the regulation changes and how this is going to affect things, predominantly, of course, for Super League and Super League Lights. There are a few changes in the other championships, but our focus tonight is purely on Super League. There is a private qualifying session for 2021, so all cars are actually on track independently. They're not going to be holding each other up. They're going to be there to do their own solitary qualifying laps. I think that's a really positive change, because there's no advantages that you can gain in the tow. There's no traffic to hold you up. It's just purely you're out there on your own and you can set the lap time independently. I think this is such a strong move, Tom, and I think it's probably going to be a bit of a game changer as well.
Yeah, and I think this was probably one of, if not the biggest, maybe even concern from the teams last year. Obviously, you had 3 or 4 teams working together to give each other a draft, and it did look silly. It looked silly. And obviously, there was a vote put towards the Super League managers over the winter, and then again recently, and they have decided, I'm not a very big majority, to go for private qualifying, and that has fed down into Super League Lights as well. So I think Super Cup and FC, Super Cup Formula Challenge, should still be with like an open qualifying, so we'll all be on track together. But yeah, Super League and Super League Lights, we will be going to a private qualifying, which I think is the right move. I really do think it's the right move, and it will show who's best in the car. No, like I said, no tow, no any silly business going on there. So we'll be good, and obviously still going to be 20 minutes long, and like you said, all cars going to be on track at the same time, but just invisible to each other with no effects of tow or dirty air.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be really, really strong in terms of giving us a proper race, a proper show. The right people will be on pole position. It will be down to how well you've set the car up. It'll be down to who's got the best package and the best equipment. This is exactly what we needed for Super League and Super League Lights. It's a fabulous idea. So the sessions will be private per car. All cars will compete at the same time, although, of course, they will be on track independently for each individual driver. So they won't be on the same track, as it were. The qualifying sessions will then obviously be taken into account, and the grid will be set based on personal bests. There is also a revised R&D system, so it's now up to 11 R&D components across the season, where in previous years it was obviously on 7. But they now create a negative impact on the car as well as a positive one. So this is an interesting one, Tom. Just explain a little bit about how this is going to work.
So this is huge. This is the biggest shake-up in the R&D we've had since it started. So obviously, like I said before, we've had these pre-season test sessions and the test sessions before the races themselves to get our R&D points, research and development points. And obviously, you can update components on there. Obviously, like I said, 7 in the previous years, now up to 11 components up to be graded. And as you said, you can now have a negative impact on the car as well as the one you're going for. So, for example, we've got in front of us here, front wing drag. Obviously, will increase that so you can have better top speed, but that will now, instead of just doing that, will decrease your downforce on your front wing. Obviously, it's not going to be a one up, one down. Obviously, you'll get a better effect from the front wing drag than you lose downforce. So it's not like you can, you must leave the car stock. You've got to update it, but you've now got to be a bit clever about it. You've got to try and figure out what's going to be the best for you whilst not too negatively impacting the rest of the car. It will take a bit of thinking, and I'm glad I'm not a manager because I wouldn't be able to figure it out. I'm not clever enough. But yeah, it's really quite a big shake-up, and it really is going to show the men from the boys in that regard. And people like Nikos, like Mike Pittman of the GSR VBM team, like they're going to have to really think about what they're doing now. Because obviously before it was, nice and easy, upgrade that, bang, 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 bang. For the last 2 years, it's been the same cars pretty much. And now this is big, very, very big. So I'm really looking forward to see who makes the most of it.
I think it's going to be very, very entertaining and very interesting to see how it changes and ebbs and flows through the season. The last thing in terms of a regulation change that we really need to get into here, and I'm afraid I'm going to do the thing that all commentators need to be very careful of mentioning, and every single one of you watching is going to have a bit of a groan. It's track limits. Look, I'm not being unreasonable. I'm not being harsh. I'm not being a killjoy. I just think we do need to address exactly what is going to be done in 2021. And Tom, we can clarify it is going to be enforced by the track's detection system. Just give us a basic, we don't need to go banging on and on about this forever and a day. We all know that the track is the black bit with the white lines either side, and if you go off that, you're not doing a good job, as far as I'm concerned. But then I'm old school. So do we need to just get into what this essentially means with the track's detection system? Can we give a vague description?
Yes, so obviously, like I said, track limits, obviously GPV rules, the curbs are counted as track limits both inside and outside as well. Basically, if you have all 4 wheels off them, tough. You're off. It is, and now instead of it being reported by drivers and the DC having to spend hours and hours and hours checking, it's now going to be done by the track, and now going to be done by the track detective system itself. So obviously, it will need tweaking throughout the season, obviously, to make sure it's right. But I know in other series it's a 3 strikes and you get a penalty. That is not the case at GPV. It will be it's quite a high limit. It's more for the R&D, so they can just go through the results file and go, right, that driver cut so many times, and you'll be able to tell instantly because they will have no lap time for that lap. Yeah. So it's one of those things that just it's more for the RD guys, make their lives a bit easier, make Rob's life 10 million times easier, just not having to go through each race afterwards, checking the cuts. And also what this is good for is qualifying. So now, if you're on a hot lap and you go, you messed up. You've got to go out again. There's no saving it. You're not going to get back at the grid for the next race. You're just going to start at the back of the grid that race instead. So it's going to force qualifying, I think, more than the race in terms of that. So you've got to try and maybe go 100% rather than 110% in qualifying, because you know that you could get away with it before. The track will just go, no, you can't. So
true.
Quite a big one as well. So but fingers crossed that'll be a positive impact for everyone involved as well.
Yes, I completely agree. As far as I'm concerned, racing drivers will try and use any excuse they possibly can. But for my money, if you're not on the black bit, that you're not on the racetrack. That's just my opinion. Anyway, we should move on before I get too controversial. Yeah, we're going to move on before we get too controversial. Let's talk you through the runners and riders for the 2021 season. This is always my favourite bit of a season preview, getting to know all of the cars and all of the drivers and what they are going to be giving us in 2021. So let's talk you through each of the teams and drivers. So we'll start obviously at the top of the bill with powered by RSR, and they're going to be using the Minotaur engine, and that is obviously going to give us 3 very talented drivers. The owner, of course, is Ryan Elliott, and the Super League debut for the team this year. They're in their second year in the career ladder, Tom, and they were 4th in Super League Lights last year, so they're stepping up to the big roulette table. This is going to be a Super League debut season for Daniel Stokowski. And then we also have Tomasz Vak as well, who was strong in Super League Lights last year in the CM Tech car. He had some good results as the Cosmo YTF1 reserve as well last season. And then in the reserve spot, we have Bruno Souza Ferreira, who was racing in Formula Challenge this year as well for Deltec Esports. This could be a really strong lineup for 2021. They may be new boys, but they've come to mean business.
You've been saying that quite a lot today, Jake. There's going to be some strong teams this year. Powered RSR initially were actually meant to be in Super League Lights this year, but thanks to the withdrawal of TG Racing, they did get promoted in their place. So, yeah, Ryan, second year in the career ladder, obviously had a great year last year in their debut year in the career ladder, with Sandeep Singh scoring the bulk of their points in their car. Their R&D wasn't the best last year. Maybe that's something that Ryan's going to have to have a bit of focus on. But I think if anyone can do it, Ryan can. I don't know too much about Daniel Stepkowski, if I'm honest. But I think he must be strong. He's in Super League. You're not going to have a weak driver in Super League, are you?
No,
but Tommy Clark, I've raced him myself in Super League Lights a couple of years ago. In fact, last year as well. And yeah, he's quick. I've seen him in other series as well. He is going to be quick. Like I said, I don't know. Is he going to be in the top echelon of drivers? Probably not. But who knows as the time goes on. We saw someone like Jamala Zappala work his way up from midfield to winning a race by the end of the year last year. So Thomas is going to be someone who I'm going to be on a positive lookout for the season. And obviously Bruno Souza Ferreira there in reserve, obviously going to be having a strong season, hopefully in Formula Challenge with Deltec, and we'll be doing those all-important testing miles for each Super League race.
Yeah, really keen to see how the new boys get on, and there are a few of them in 2021, so it's not the first time we'll be talking about new teams. Speaking of which, let's move on to the Mayer Downod Racing Team with their Reventon engines for this year. Jack Mayer, not only is he the head of media, he also has his own team to play with. This is the 5th year for the squad in the career ladder. They were 5th in Super League Lights last season. They've been able to step up to the big boys. Christian Pascal, Super League Lights winner at Turkey 2 seasons ago. 14 races total in the career ladder, and he's had 2 Super League Light pole positions. So he's definitely going to be a mean deceiver out there on the circuit. Michael Francesconi, he is a Super League race winner back in 2016. It's been a while since the last victory, but there's definite intent to return to the top of the podium, and he's done that 23 times in the career ladder. 23 podiums in total, I should point out, and 10 pole positions in the career ladder as well. So one lap pace is definitely not going to be hard to find at the Mayer Downod Racing Team. And in the reserve seat, you've got young George Whitehouse, a Super Cup race winner twice over, 10 podiums across the career ladder as well. And he's going to be racing in Super League Lights this year for TR Bluvos, as well as freshening up his video editing, production, and occasional commentary skills. This is a really exciting lineup for 2021, Tom. I think we could see a bit of a dark horse with this squad.
Yeah, Jack means business. He's got some very quick drivers there. Pascal, I know he's had a few issues, game issues in the last couple of years, so that's why we've not seen him as much. But yeah, he's had 2 positions. He's won a race in Super League Lights. He knows what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he's raced in Super League before as well, actually. He's done a one-off race. So he's not new to the league. He's not new to the cars and the system, how it all works. So he should be good. Frank Scone, though, is probably going to be the leader of this team. Third. He finished 3rd in Super League Lights last year overall. Only missing out on 2nd in the final race, actually, to Colin Spork. Like I said, he's won races in Super League. He was runner-up in the championship with Adonis in 2016 as well, so he knows how to push on for a title. And he ended the year strongly last year, so he knows how to race. We'll be missing the first race of the season through suspension, but I'm sure he will be a welcome addition to the team, to the car when he gets back. And George Whitehouse, like you said, very quick. I really do rate George quite highly, actually. I've got a lot of respect for George. He's super quick in Super Cup last year, and obviously, like you said, 10 podiums elsewhere in the career ladder, and in racing again in Super League Lights this year with TR Bluvos. So I can see George doing. I think he is going to be in the car for Melbourne. So really excited to see what he can do, and he is, like I said, one to watch for the future. I really do rate George. So yeah, Jack's got a good team on his hands. In terms of prediction wise, yeah, we'll see. I think they'll finish in the top 10. I would say quite comfortably. We'll just have to see how Francesconi fits into the car and see how quickly Pascal gets up to his speed, really. But yeah, really looking forward to how Jack does this year. They deserve it. Yeah, they had a strong year, a couple of years in Super League Lights. They've been through the education. They've done it all, so they know what they're doing in that. So really looking forward to see what he can do this year.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. By the way, incidentally, folks, this is obviously your chance to get messages to me to tell me that I'm pronouncing names incorrectly. This is your chance. You're not going to get many other opportunities before the names stick in my head. So this is your chance. If I'm mispronouncing anything, you need to tell me now at this point of the season. It's been a couple of years since I've been full-time with GPVWC, so you need to drill these into me now, essentially. So that's your warning. Right, on to the third squad for 2021. And it is, of course, Cenobite Reventon. It's going to be an interesting one for team owner Liam DeWaal, with a very strong lineup, a fourth year in the career ladder. And, of course, everyone will remember Cenobite from their victory in last year's Super League Lights Championship. So they rightfully step up to the big roulette table. Pedro Gomez was third in the Super League Lights last season. He returns to Super League full-time after racing in the 2018 season with Red Archer. It'll be fascinating to see what he can do. And then, of course, last year's winner in the Bahrain Grand Prix of the Super League, Fabio Sixta, now gets his full-time shout in the Cenobite team. And on the reserve squad, we have a consistent Formula Challenge racer, Amari Watson, who will be racing in Super League Lights this year for V12 Crossfire. This is an important season, I guess, for Cenobite, Tom, because they have that championship title from Super League Lights to draw upon heading into 2021. They often say that in sim racing, you've just got to keep that momentum rolling. So essentially, they were champions last year in the lower division. Can they still reach that height in Super League itself?
With the title, I'd be impressed, yeah. So Liam obviously raced for Cenobite last year in the first half of the season, and obviously won the championship through that. And I think that flattered Cenobite a little bit. I'm not saying they didn't deserve to win the title. Obviously they did. They had Colin Spork as well, who came second, so they had 1-2 in the title. But I know that Liam struggled with getting a second driver last year after he left, so we'll see how that goes. But I mean, he's got two very quick drivers here. Pedro Gomez, we all know what he can do. He's won races everywhere. He's quick, and he's raced a full season as well. So that's important for Liam as well to know that he's got a driver who trusts can done a full season. And Fabio Sixta won a race last year, obviously in Bahrain. Was unlucky not to win more. He's had a lot of connection issues. If he can sort his connection issues out, I'm going to say it could be a dark horse for the title. It really could. Cenobite had a good car last year as well, so there's no reason why they can't do that again. And like Fabio and Pedro will be a very mean team, I think. I think they'll be potentially the best of the new boys, I would say as well. I'd go as far as to say that. And obviously Amari, one of the most popular boys in GPV. We love that bloke. So fingers crossed he can keep that consistent season going into this year with Super League Lights. Really, really, hopefully that he can do well.
And we'd love, of course, to see him full-time in Super League as soon as he is ready to make that jump on a full-time basis. I think we'd all like to see that. Good luck to the Cenobite team in 2021. Right, on to one of the most highly anticipated race team lineups of 2021. The Epic Racing team, which will run the Minotaur engine, and team owner Lee Davidson is putting off a bit of a coup here. Not only are they returning to Super League after a year away, and of course they had wins in Super League before, but don't forget, on their debut in 2018 in Australia, and I remember it well, Jeffrey Fournier came fresh out of the blocks and they got the win. But they're also reuniting one of the most successful GPVWC Super League lineups in recent years. David Fiduk is back, double Super League champion, won it in 2014 for CSR, won it in 2016 for Nordian, and of course his last win was at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2016 round 15, but he still has plenty of speed, plenty of ability, and he is never going to back down from the fight. And beside him, multiple Super League race winner and very, very consistent, very, very strong Florian Gaia. Putting Fiduk and Gaia back together, it seems like it's Morecambe and Wise or Chalk and Cheese or Ant and Deck, depending on where you are in the world. They have reunited once again, and it's going to be fabulous to see what they can produce. And in the reserve seat, of course, racing in the Super Cup with Red Arrow, they also have Vincent Gutt. So this is going to be an interesting one. Fiduk and Gaia, the pair are back, Tom. Can they return to the top step of the podium?
Oh, I really hope so. I really hope so. Like, I know Fiduk struggled last year. I know Gaia struggled last year. And I think they'll happily admit it. They both struggled. I know Flo had a few personal issues, so he had to come out of the seat at Street Fighter last year. Yeah. Fiduk will admit he struggled last year. He struggled to get to grips with the car. He said to me multiple times throughout the year, I just don't know what's going on. But like you said, we know he's got the speed. I know them both personally. I've been teammates to both of them in the past. I know how bloody quick they are. So on their day, maybe potentially they could win. I really could. I really hope so as well. Having been with Fiduk in CSG, it should be CSG, not CSR. But CSG, I've seen been with them there. Having been with Flo in Super Cup and Super League, even as recently as last year. with Flo. So I really hope they can do well. Vincent as well has got the experience in Super League, having done a few races last year in the towards the back end of the season. So an experienced lineup, definitely. And Lee knows what he's doing. He's very, very, very dedicated as well. Hopefully we can have a word with him later as well. But yeah, will they win the championship? If I'm going to be honest, no, I don't think they will. But I think they're definitely going to be around the mid-pack, going to be in that really tight midfield area with your Mare Downward Racing, with your senior bikes. Hopefully we'll see them up there and at least scoring more consistent points this year, definitely.
Well, let's not forget that David Vardek is the man who beat a certain Rudy van Buren back in 2017, so he knows how to beat some proper top professional racers out there. One of them, of course, who actually works for McLaren as their simulator driver, so there's definitely no wanton for talent. So we're going to see some great racing, hopefully, from Messrs. Fidek and Gaia in 2021. Good luck to the team, and hopefully it will be as epic as the name suggests. Moving on to the Green Stripes Racing Team with their Reventon engines, and team owner Christian Lichtenstein has definitely got an interesting lineup again for the new season. They, of course, debuted in the Super League back in 2012. They had a brief demotion to Super Cup, returned to Super League in 2019. Their last race win was actually with Jenic Simičić at Brazil at the end of 2019. Last season, they had some interesting races, but on the whole, it was on average towards the tail end of the field. This is their chance to move forward, and they are continuing with the Reventon engine in 2020. So let's see what their drivers can do. They both made their Super League debuts last season with the Green Stripes team, Mirko Lucchini and Federico Russo. I suppose, from the team's point of view, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the reserve is going to be Giuseppe Saracino, and he will be racing in Super League lights with the HG Esports Blue Bolt. I get the sense with this team, Tom, that this is an essential run in 2021 where they're going to be focusing on evolution rather than revolution.
Absolutely, and I think Christoph will be thinking that as well. I really like them. I think they're going to struggle this year. Mirko and Federico, they try. And having worked with Green Stripes a little bit last year as well, I know they try. I think losing Alex Cooper last year hurt them a lot. I think they'll be honest to say losing Alex halfway through the season hurt them quite a bit. But like I said, I think they're going to be looking to build on trying to improve the results, getting their head around the R&D this year, getting their head around the car. They're trying to improve, go and get consistent points again. Like Epic, trying to get a bit more consistent points, try and figure out where they are, and hopefully move on. Like I said, I really like the team. I haven't driven them before, years and years ago, mind. But like I said, evolution this year. Fingers crossed they can evolve. Saracino as well, very quick driver in his own right, actually. So it'll be just to see if he steps in, how he does. Maybe even outperform the front two ahead of him. So we'll see how they get on. Like I said, I think they're going to struggle to begin with, at least anyway. But fingers crossed before the end of the year, they'll be scoring some more consistent points.
Well, I suppose you need a proverbial minnow, but we all loved Minardi when they were in Formula One. I'm kind of hoping that the partisan passion and enthusiasm for the Green Stripes Racing team is going to be as strong as their results in the season. So we wish them all the best. Moving on to the Burst Esports squad with their new Minotaur engine, of course. Team principal Cameron Rogers is giving them their debut in the 2021 season. They entered Super League in 2020 as a title partner of Scuderia Basilia, and they broke away from them for this season, and they took over the flailing flag-to-flag outfit. So now they have decided to opt for the Minotaur engine supply, despite the fact that Basilia and flag-to-flag were also using Quasar and Reventon over the course of the 2020 season. So it's all change, and with a race driver in the likes of Jenic Simičić, they clearly mean business. He's a multiple Super League race winner, as we all know, last one at the Italian Grand Prix last season, and he is a highly acclaimed driver outside the GPVWC as well, so his versatility cannot be questioned. And then Robin Pansar, who made his debut last season, he's a highly acclaimed driver outside as well, so there's going to be an interesting chance for these two to continue to perfect their GPVWC skills. And of course, Cameron Roger will be the reserve driver, and when he's not pounding laps around for Burst Esports, he is the team principal of the Burst Esports Super League team. So he's going to be double duty, managing and test driving. I've done that before as part of the Downforce Scale Electric Racing team, and it's not easy to wear both hats on the same weekend. So I'm interested to see what they can do, but clearly with someone like Simičić on the team, there's definitely going to be a challenge for some decent results 2021, Tom.
Yeah. Basically, that's all I've got to say. Yeah, Cam. So, like I said before earlier on, Cam's been around for a couple of years now as a team principal with flag to flag. Obviously, Burst of Sevilla basically just taken over the team as a whole, but keeping Cam in the hot seat. taking on that new engine as well in the Minotaur. So I'm interested to see that they believe in Red Archer's ability to develop that engine. But yeah, Simoncic, I mean, arguably, best driver in R-Factor 2. Especially in a Formula car, I'd definitely say so. In a Formula car, probably the best R-Factor 2 driver. So if he puts his head to it, he will probably win this title. I will say it. He will win this title if he puts his head to it. I know last year he was focusing more on other leagues, which is fair enough. Obviously, with where he races, I can understand that. But obviously now with more incentives this year, with the prize fund having come back, I do believe we'll see a more, not improved Simoncic because we know he's probably one of the best, but a more determined Simoncic. Obviously having won multiple races last year, having won multiple titles elsewhere, yeah, it's hard to beat Ernie. I think race against him, I can't get close to him. So, yeah, it's going to be good. And Robin, a quick shout out actually to Robin before I do go on to him. Mostly, he made the car for this year, made the physics. So this car is Robin's baby. Obviously, has been very open and honest. Every mod version we've had has been going straight out to the teams. So obviously, he won't have an advantage in there. But yeah, thank you very much, Robin, for the car you have produced. It's an absolute wonder. So thank you very much for that straight away. But yeah, he's quick in his own right. He's won races elsewhere as well. I know he struggled last year in Super League, not quite at Yerny's level, but he can bring points and podiums if he wanted to. So I think if these boys focus, yeah, they are going to be one of, if not the champion this year. Definitely top three. If they don't get top three, they'll be very disappointed, I'd imagine. And obviously Cam knows how to drive a car as well. He's got points and prizes elsewhere before, so it's a strong team. Yeah, very strong. If not the strongest. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see if their motivation's in the right place.
It's going to be fascinating what will happen for them in 2021. But yes, I'll echo the sentiments of Tom Parker. A massive shout out to Robin Pansar. You don't really get the opportunity to see Adrian Newey race a Formula One car these days, but that's essentially what we've got with the GPVWC in the Super League. So a massive thank you, Robin, for all your hard work. It is very much appreciated. Good stuff, bud. Keep it up. We focus now on the Ghost Speed Reventon squad. Now, this is going to be an interesting one for Owner Tom Satherley, the team that made their debut in the Super League in 2020, and they are continuing their partnership with Reventon engines that they had in the 2020 season. Who are the drivers? Well, we've got Eros Masculi, who was the Super League runner-up, don't forget, back in 2016 for Adonis, and is a multiple Super League race winner, so there's plenty of speed and talent where he came from. And of course, there is Michele D'Alessandro. Now, he is a highly acclaimed racing driver outside the GPVWC. He's going to be coming in to make his Super League debut, fresh in at the deep end. So that's definitely going to be an interesting scope for entertainment factor, and hopefully for a few strong performances as well in the 2021 season. On the reserve bench, well, there's Adriano Opacini, who is the driver for the Super Cup Team Champions Pescara SRT last year. So there's definitely some fascinating race battles to come from him in 2021. How many times he'll get to drive the Ghost Speed is yet to be seen. But with Eros Masculi, we know we've got incredible talent there, Tom Parker. The inclusion of Michele D'Alessandro, it adds an air of mystique to the team. I'm very excited to see how these guys get on.
Yeah, we all know what Eros can do. Having joined Ghost Speed halfway through last season, obviously for the first half of the season was with Adonis themselves, who obviously won the title last year. So Eros obviously helped towards that. He was actually, he was a Super League champion for about a week before the results got published, and that all went wrong. But he knows what it's like to win titles in other leagues as well. So Eros will be strong. D'Alessandro, I don't know too much about him again, but he's highly acclaimed outside GBV. He must know what he's doing. So we're interested to see how he does on his debut. And then their reserve driver, Adriano Opacini, won multiple races last year in Super Cup for Pescara. He knows what he's doing as well to win a championship. So this is a team that's going to be quite a quiet one. I don't think people really know what they're going to do really in terms of like performance and that. It's I mean, they've got the continuation with Reventon. I know they worked quite closely with Adonis last year, obviously with Arosh going over. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. I am looking forward to see how they struggled a bit last year, especially with trying to find drivers towards the end of the season. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they can get that fixed for this year, and we'll see them higher up the table.
Well, while we're focusing on the teams, we're about the halfway point through the teams. You can probably notice on the lap times there on your screen, Liam DeWaal has just done a 1 minute 10.947, and I'm delighted to say that that is the fastest lap that anyone has ever done in this car around the Buriram Circuit in Thailand. That is now a new record, which has immediately just gone and been smashed by Lauren Kiersmakers. So there we go, Lauren Kiersmakers deciding that, no, Liam De Waal is not going to hold the top spot for long. So you can keep an eye on that idly in the background and see who gets the top spot. We will be coming back to that as the test session goes on, as our season preview continues. But it is fascinating to observe that the drivers are now starting to get the fastest laps we've ever seen in this car around Buriram in Thailand. Brilliant circuit. It's very underrated as well. Let's continue with our lineup for 2021. The GSR Sim Racing Centre by VBM. There are big expectations for them, as we always come to expect in 2021. Team boss Mike Pittman made his debut in 2006, of course, one of the most prolific and most successful teams in the history of GPVWC. This is, of course, the rebranded championship-winning team that once were called Vodbull Racing. The engine supplier is the sole Valiant engine team on the grid, but the GSR Sim Racing Centre by VBM, definitely a top-running team, and therefore you need some top-running drivers. Fabrizio Gorbi, of course, made his debut in Super League last season, was a multiple race winner, and he took the win at Canada in last season. This will be his second season in Super League, and definitely one to watch out for. And then, of course, there's Giuseppe Ragusa, who made his debut with the team, of course, last year, and this will be his second season in Super League. So yet again, there's nothing to change in terms of the driver lineup on the test driver front. Well, the reserve is Mike Bell, who'll be racing in Formula Challenge this year for Smile Power. We know the reputation, Tom. We know the history. We know the success. What can we expect from this lineup in 2021?
Hopefully more of the same for their upward trend. I know they had a bit of an upward trend last year compared to their 2019 season, so I think that'll be more of the same, trying to push themselves a bit further out of the grid. I remember in the Young Drivers Test at the end of last year, Mike did say that was their aim. They want to try and improve again. He wasn't too sure if they could win the title, and honestly, with that lineup, they'll be up there, but I don't think they can. Oh, I don't know, start again. They can sneak the odd win, I would say, like last year, like Gorby did last year. He can sneak the odd win here and there, and like I said, he's quick on his day. He's very good with tyre wear as well. His tyre wear is one of the best I've seen around. So interested to see how he gets on with that. And Ragusa came in halfway through the season last year for a British, if I remember rightly. And strong again. It was a strong season for when he was going. I know I remember in Circuit of the Americas last year, he had a really strong drive out of nowhere and shocked quite a few people. So really, really looking forward to see how they do. And obviously Mike, teammate of mine this year in SC. So he's got to try and beat me first. But yeah, he was there last year as well with the team, so he knows the team already. Very, very reliable test driver. Whether or not he'll get to drive the car this year in the race, we'll see. He didn't last year, but I think Mike's quite happy just pootling around his test sessions. Just he's got good feedback on the car. He knows what the car's going to be doing. He knows, like I said, he knows the team. He gets on well with them, and I think that's quite key. Having a team having like that retention in personnel really will help, and I'm looking forward to see what GSR Sim Racing Centre by VBM. Mike, you've got to stop changing your team names, man. Come on. But yeah, and I think obviously as well, they're the only one who's got Valiant, obviously running the Valiant engine. It's the second year in a row now that they've been wanting to do it on their own, which is quite an interesting tactic actually. So see how that goes, and they've always produced a strong engine. They've produced championship-winning engines, obviously. So have to see how they go on, but really looking forward to see what they can do this year.
Other thing about Mike Pittman, he's also a very good virtual sim racing team manager in the Retro Racing Managers League. That's my subtle plug dropped in there. I'm not going to blow any more of a wild trumpet. I'll sit down with you at a pint at some point and I'll explain to you all what the Retro Racing Managers League is at some point. If you're interested, let me know. It's great fun. Grand Prix 2 revived. Anybody who knows Grand Prix 2, they know how brilliant it is. Right, we'll move on. That's no more subtle plugs. No more subtle plugs. Honest. On to the next team. The Holland Racing team with their Quasar engines and team owner Dethan Ruttering. The team made their debut last season, of course. They're going to continue on with Quasar, and they're also going to provide a race seat for the longest serving driver currently on the grid, active in the Grand Prix Virtual World Championship. Laurent Kiersmakers, his first race was all the way back in 2005 at the Australian Grand Prix for Bracciano Racing. His first Super League win was in Italy that year. His last time to the top of the podium was with Vodbull at the 2007 Brazilian Grand Prix. He made his retirement after that point, but 12 years later in the 2019 season, he bounced back to Super League lights with the Holland Racing team, and he has climbed the dizzying heights with them since then, and this will be his second year in the GPVWC Super League. Great to see him back. And then, of course, his teammate will be the 2017 Super Cup champion, Stefan Rualt, for the Scuderia Brasilia team back in those days. And he obviously won on his Super Cup Championship 2017 Swan Song, but he also made his debut in the Super League that year for the Canal Sport team in Brazil. And of course, we all know how good those two drivers are. The owner of a Super Cup team is going to be the reserve driver for the team, Gerrit de Vries, who of course is the owner of the Friesland Racing team. But this is definitely going to be a very interesting one. Keersmakers still got it. Stefan Rualt still developing. What's not to like about this lineup, Tom? It could be one of the strongest of them all.
Yeah, well, Keersmakers has proven it. He's top of the test. So he's still got his pace. He's still got the pace. So, Keersmakers last year was one of those drivers who was always just outside the top. You know what I mean? He was always top 5, top 6. He was always there, but not quite at the top. But I really hope he can get up there racing. I know he's helped Robin out with the mod this year as well. So big thanks to Lauren for that side of things as well. He's been racing for 16 years in this league. He knows what he's doing. Obviously, having retired in 2007, but he's not lost the pace. Fingers crossed he can get up there again this year. And Rural himself, he's also strong. Maybe not quite up to Lauren's level, but definitely quick in his own right. So, I mean, he's also on a good day, maybe a top 5 driver as well. Going to be around in that like 5th, 6th area, I think. This thing, you'll see them getting up to there, which is really good. They had a good debut last year. And fingers crossed they can carry on that momentum up this year. Obviously, Gerrit plodding around doing test sessions. I don't think he's going to be driving the car anytime this year in Super League anyway. I know he's done a few academy rounds this year so far, so we'll have to see if he can pop into another series at some point throughout the year. But obviously, Gerrit, massive thanks for all the work you did last year as well with the media team. So it's sad to see you step down from the lead of it. Fingers crossed we'll see you back again very soon.
But it means he can have a massive smile on his face as he pounds around on the laps at Buriram. We're actually watching him on camera at the moment. Great to see him doing what he loves. And we're really hopeful that the 2021 Holland Racing team lineup is going to be a strong one and hopefully a victorious one as well. Moving on to the Red Archer virtual racing team. It's no trip in the park for team owner Nikos Evangelidakis, who has been running this team since 2010. They made their Super League debut back then, of course, and they have been racing in the championship ever since with plenty of success. And that kind of reputation needs some fast drivers. So why not pick Wright Kilk, Super League debutant in the Monaco Grand Prix 2017 for this team. And he has pretty much been their bookmark driver. Obviously, he was racing for the Eval and Epic Racing teams, respectively, through 2018 and 2019, but he couldn't quite resist the chance to return to them. He's had a pole position and 2 podiums in 2020 as well, so he's definitely one to watch out for this season. And his teammate is Matthias Mus, who's been with the team since his Super League debut at the 2019 Australian Grand Prix. His 3rd campaign with the squad, so this could be a very strong one for him. And his reserve driver, the reserve driver for the team, is young Thomas Harvey, a very talented kart racer in his own right, and also a competitor in the Super League Lights for TR Bluvos. This is definitely going to be another strong chance for the Red Archer team, but with Kilk and Mus, we could have 2 drivers who could potentially set up a charge for the Constructors' Championship, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, if you could have like a GPV version of like the Nearly Man, like Wright Kilk is that man. Like I met, I think it was in Kota last year. I mean, I took commentators bias out the window. I was like, I wanted to win. He was so close to winning, and he didn't quite get it, and I was gutted for him. But I mean, I get on quite well with Wright, actually, and I do think he is a very, very good driver. He just needs that last little bit just to be at the top. Like I said, he's never won. He had 2 podiums last year, which I was really buzzing for. But he doesn't quite have that last little tenth, maybe, just to be able to get up to the top and win a race. I really hope we see it this year. And he's probably been one of the most consistent performers, actually, I'd say, in the last 3 or 4 years. He's, for Eval, for Epic, and for Red Archer, every year he's always been in that top 5, top 4 area. So, I mean, his experience in that sense will be good, and obviously the continuation on from last year's for both drivers will be really good. And Moose, on his day as well, can be up there as well. Maybe not quite at the level Wright Kilk's at, but top 10 most races, easy. And really good to see if he can keep that development going as well. Whether they'll not win the title, I don't think they will, but they will definitely got a good chance of being top 4, top 5 easy this year. So really want to see what they can do. And obviously they've got the engine to think about this year as well. So great to see how the engine goes for them this year. So obviously if they can develop a good engine and a good car again, who knows? Maybe they will have a cracking season. Obviously, Tom Harvey, as you know, like I said, great karter in the real world, and very quick in his sim car as well. He did a few races last year and had some decent results. But fingers crossed he can do well in the Super League lights for TR Blue Moss.
I think Tom Harvey and George Whitehouse need to rally the old Buriram UK Series troops. I think we need to have a one-off GPVWC series race where Tom and George rally all the troops from the seniors, from the juniors, and we have a proper race. Tom and George are not allowed to drive, obviously. They would have to commentate on it, but I would certainly be involved in having a look at how that went. It would be wonderful to get the band back together again to a certain extent. Right, that's your mission, boys. I'll help any way I can. Let's move on to the Edge Esports team. They'll use Quasar engines, and there's been a proper restructure for this team in terms of their management in the off-season. Andreas Wouters, prolific manager of the team, has now stepped down and resigned management of the Super League team. And who has he given it to? Lauren Keersmakers. The man's going to be doing double duty in 2021. I'm going to have to pick up this story in a bit because that's fascinating. Obviously, it's going to be an interesting one for the team that made their debut in 2016. So let's talk about drivers. Well, they've got the youngest driver on the grid in 2021, Colin Spork, who made his debut last year in the Super League Lights Australian Grand Prix for Cenobite. He made his Super League debut in the Brazilian Grand Prix with a second-place finish for the Edge Esports team. No wonder he's got the full-time gig for this year. And, of course, he was last year's Super League Lights runner-up. His teammate, a multiple winner and a multiple champion, Maciej Mlanek, who won the Formula Challenge in 2017 for Brasilia and was the Super Cup runner-up for them a year later. And, of course, he famously made his debut in the Australian Grand Prix 2017 for the Street Fighter squad. And I remember it well. The reserve driver will be Mateo Keersmakers, who made his GPVWC debut all the way back in 2007 for Crystal Oxide in the Australian Grand Prix. And he'll be racing in Super League Lights this year for Zederick Racing. This is a fascinating story. We know the Edge Esports team of old as well, Tom, but with Andreas Wouters stepping down and handing it to a race driver for another team, unravel this one for me, Tom.
Oh, I think it's safe to say they'll be working together this year, don't you think? But
yeah. There's a good chance, I think. Yeah, good chance.
Yeah, maybe a little one, yeah. But yeah. So I know Keersmakers has been involved in Edge for longer than that as well. He's been helping out in like the R&D sense as well before. So it's not a surprise to see it. And I know Andreas gave most of the reins over to him last year anyway, but just not in name. So now Lawrence obviously going to have full control, which will help their performance hopefully. Sorry. Yep. So Colin Spork. Oh, Colin Spork. What a debut he had last year. GPWC debut obviously last year in Australia. To Liam Duval as his teammate of all people, and he only got beaten by one person last year in the championship. And that was Liam Duval, and we all know how quick Liam is. But considering Colin was a rookie, complete rookie to R-Factor 2 last year, he was absolutely blinding. Probably one of the most impressive rookies last year, full stop, across all 4 series we had last year. So, and he was damn close to winning last year in Brazil in his debut. He was, I think, about 4 or 5 laps away from winning before Jamalo Zapala overtook him. It was a real champions drive, and I'm really looking forward to see how he can do. Hopefully, that doesn't give him false expectations, because I don't think he'll get that high again. I know there's a bit of extenuating circumstances in Brazil. Obviously, there was a title fight going on. People were trying to get in the way of other people, etc., etc. Obviously, nothing against Colin. He drove the drove. He got P2, but hopefully he doesn't let that not go to his head, but like just try to have realistic expectations. Try and go for the top 5s, maybe. Just try and keep it consistent in your first half of the season. Then start going for your wins, start going for your podiums towards the second half of the season. And Maciej, Maciej's been around for years. He's won championships, he's won races. Obviously, like I said, he's made his debut in Super League years back now, and he's a quick driver in his own right. He's also similar to Right Kilk. He's there, but hasn't got that last 1 or 2 tenths just to get to that very top. He can get a podium easy this year, and if the cards fall in his favour, and fingers crossed he will. And I really like Maciej. I've had some great races with him on track in the years gone by, and another popular bloke. And Mateo Keersmakers, obviously, I wonder how he got that drive. Yeah, he knows his racing as well. He raced last year.
Which brown envelope did he slip under the bedroom door?
Well, I'm pretty sure he must slip under my door, because I've got Vincent Keersmakers in my team for PB. So there we go. But we'll see Mateo driving in Super League Lights. He's drove in Super Cup last year for Crossfire, so he knows his stuff as well. So I think that'll be quite a strong team. I think they'll start out not slow, but they'll start out a bit slower, but they'll be one of the teams who develop a lot during the season, I think, with Colin.
Could be a fascinating campaign. I'm really excited and intrigued to see what we get from the team in 2021. Onwards to Scuderia Basilia with their Quasar engines and team owner David Junt, who is again going to be sharing the board. Now, of course, they're continuing with the Quasar engines, as we mentioned, from 2020. This will be their third season in the Super League after they made their debut in 2019. And of course, we have to talk about the two fabulous drivers that they've got on board. Germano Zappala won the final race of the 2020 season in Brazil, as we've already mentioned, for Street Fighter. Really is going to be fascinating to see what he can turn that into in a full-time campaign in 2021. He obviously made his debut with the Adonis team in 2019 in Australia, so he has plenty of experience to take into the season as well. And then there is Alari Alkbus with his debut in the Super League in 2019 at Monza. So it'll be fascinating to see what Alkbus can do alongside Zappala. On the reserve bench, we have Jacob Reed, who is also the team owner of Formula Challenge team Valence Sim Racing. With Zappala and Alkbus, this could be a very interesting run for Scuderia Basilia. Are we looking at a potential world champion in this particular squad with Zappala, Tom? Could we make it happen?
I don't know if we can make it happen, but maybe Zappala can, yeah. Yeah, so Germano's going to be on a high from winning that last race last year with Street Fighter. And he's someone who's a bit like Sport Clash, but kind of did it in Super League. So he started out the season, he kept having brake failures. I remember it. He kept having brake failures from like 6th or 7th. Everyone's like, is he going to finish a race? And then he started finishing races, and he was finishing in the top 6 consistently. I thought, okay, let's go. And then I was actually his teammate for a bit at Street Fighter. He moved over to Street Fighter once Alex Cooper left the team. And we worked together for a couple of races, and my word, is this bloke quick. He got into Street Fighter, got to a better car in Street Fighter, started working a bit more on the setup, and he just suddenly started getting podiums. I was like, wow, where's he come from? I think it's funny as well. I think it's brilliantly, really funny as well. But yeah, maybe a dark horse. Yeah, definitely could say a dark horse for the championship. Who knows? If he keeps up his rate of improvement, there's no reason why he can't win races again this year. Having been on the grid for a couple of years now, he's got the experience of a win now. Can he be a team leader? Yeah, definitely. And Scuderia Basilia obviously having that great year last year with the Burst backing. Fingers crossed they can keep that momentum up as well. Having lost Burst maybe hurt them a little bit, but we'll see if they can continue that momentum upwards as well. And Alari, hopefully, as long as Alari can stay around, I think he's had commitment issues with some bits last year as well. If he can keep the full season, and we know how quick he is. He's had some brilliant drivers throughout the series in his time here. If he can keep his commitment 100%, definitely a team who's going to be around that Red Archer area, around that top 5-6 battle. I reckon we could see Scuderia Basilia, which would be great for them. And obviously Jacob Reed, quick driver in his own right, and obviously will be owning FC team Valence Sim Racing this year. I'm not sure if he's driving anywhere actually. I have to have a check quickly, but he's quick driving in his own right, so he could probably easily step into that car and do a solid job should he need to.
Could be a very interesting season for the team. Let's hope there are still some great performances on the horizon for them. Onwards to the Evolution Motorsports team. Now, for owner Dennis Jordan, this is an opportunity for them to continue to go from strength to strength, as we have seen from the squad already in the past. Leon Bock and Yannick Bock will be the drivers after the team has already shown incredible performances in the past. And we're going to see another strong lineup again. Leon Bock, of course, 2019 Japanese Grand Prix was his Super League debut for the YTF1 squad, and he was the Super Cup runner-up last year for Razor GP. He steps up alongside Yannick Bock, the Super League debutant from Hungary 2018 in the Evolution car. He was the Super League champion in 2019, the Super League runner-up last year. This guy has all the makings of a title assault once again. And obviously the team owner, Dennis Jordan, no stranger to a race win himself in the Super League. He's won many times in the category. His last win was actually at the Singapore Grand Prix last year, and he is a team owner and team test driver. Evolution have a great chance to get another title on the board this year. And certainly with Yannick Bock, who's been never outside the top 2 in the title fight in the last 2 seasons, Tom, this is definitely an opportunity for Yannick that he will want to grasp with both hands.
I just want to say that Yannick took over my seat in 2018, so it's all my fault he's champion.
Yes, it is your fault.
I just want to put that out there, all right? Yannick, we all know what he can do. He nearly won a title again last year. It went on to the final race, so he knows what we know what he can do. He's won multiple races. He helped Evolution win a title in 2018 for the teams. And now Leon, he's brought his little brother along. I think it's his little brother along. Now Leon runner-up in 2020 Super Cup last year. He started out slow, and I was like, whoa, okay, Leon's not quite as quick as his brother. Oh, and then he started practicing, and I know he had a bit of help from Dennis and Yannick as well, but my word, did Leon make a lot of leaps last year. And yes, he's done a couple of drives in Super League already. And I think I was a teammate actually in his debut, funnily enough, and he beat me. I was like, who's this kid? But yeah, now I know his name. So the Bok brothers, we'll see if they can bring Evolution up to speed. Obviously, Yannick will be there straight away. No problem. He'll be up there fighting for the win from round 1. Leon, we'll have to see. We'll have to see where his standing is. I know I know for the All-Stars stuff that WTF1 did, I think it was. He was there for Evolution there as well. So it's no stranger to high capacity competitions. So we'll see how he can do in the top step of the career ladder. Don't get me wrong, I could see him getting a podium or 2 this year. Maybe not quite consistently as Dennis would have done. I know Dennis has stepped down this year for other reasons. So hopefully Dennis will be making the odd appearance here and there. We know he can win a race. Obviously, he won multiple races last year as well. So Evolution, fingers crossed, back up there, definitely in the title fight. That's what I'd say without a doubt. But whether or not they'll get a top step back that they lost from 2019, we will have to see.
See, the Schumacher brothers never actually got to be teammates in Formula 1, so Yannick and Leon are already one up on those boys, and it'll be fascinating to see which one is going to be making the push for the title and which one can actually challenge for the top spot on a consistent basis. Good luck to Evolution Motorsports. We're all very keen. Now we will focus on the final team in the lineup, but last is definitely not least on this occasion, the Adonis Engineering Squad with the Reventon engines and team owner Menno Klont coming out punching right from the start of the season. And it's going to be an interesting one for the team that, of course, sealed last year's Constructors' Championship title. They were the 2016 runners-up as well, don't forget, and they made their Super League debut back in 2015, so this is now their 7th campaign in the Premier category of the GPVWC. Their driver lineup for this year, well, they've definitely gone for strength and wisdom. Adam Maguire, the Super League champion for 2020, and the Adonis superstar. He goes in with car number 1 to retain his title in 2021. And of course, he made his debut back in 2016 at the Austrian Grand Prix with Red Archer. He came of age last year, and now he's never going to want to relinquish that top spot. His teammate, the very highly rated Liam de Waal, who made his Super League debut back in Monaco in 2017, of course, and he was last year's Super League Lights champion for the Cenobite squad. In fact, he won every race he competed in Super League Lights last year. Such was his strength in the car and championship. So that's 2 Super League champions from 2020 in the same lineup. 1 in Super League, 1 in Lights, and the team test driver is a pretty handy driver as well. In fact, they've got the hat trick. Alessandro Quintai is going to be the reserve driver for the squad, and he was the 2020 Super Cup champion for Pescara SRT. He'll be racing for them in Super League Lights in the 2021 season. 3 champions, 1 team of champions. This is definitely another chance to show their dominance and their strength, Tom. But I think they're going to have it harder than most people think they will.
Oh yeah, they were pushed all the way last year by Evolution, and they won out in the end. But yeah, Menno was pretty relieved after that last round from last year. But yeah, I mean, you can't go any stronger than this, can you? Adam Maguire, 2020 champion. Out of nowhere, really. I don't think really anyone really expected it. It was a bit like, reminds me when Lucas Euler won a championship back in 2012. Like, no one really expected much of him. Suddenly, where's this kid come from? He's winning by like a minute. And it was like, whoa, fair play. So, Adam is obviously going to be strong again. You can't say he's not going to be. He's a champion, for goodness sake. So, fingers crossed he can keep that up and at least, at very worst, go for P2, really. That's what you'd be expecting, isn't it? And then Liam de Waal, well, I know you're listening, Liam. You're bad. But obviously that's a joke. Liam, yeah, you can't say much. He made his debut 2017. Admittedly, even he would probably admit it wasn't as quick as he was now. But my goodness, has he found some pace in the last year or so. Even in the race events, that's hard to say. The race events, he was winning the championship at one point, so he knows what he's doing. Like I said, won every race he won in 2020 Super League Lights. I think he might have actually set a record for most consecutive wins in a series in GPV last year, so he knows what he's doing. Obviously won last year in Super League as well, so this team probably on paper is the strongest team as a pairing. And if something would have to go drastically wrong for them not to win the title this year, hopefully not win the title, but yeah, if they're not P2, they'll be disappointed. And obviously they have the engine supplier as well, supplying other teams. They worked with a few teams last year as well. So I know that they will once again be a very, very strong team. And yeah, if one of those two drivers can't make it, oh well, we'll just put Kintai in the car, the guy who won the championship in Super Cup last year. So quite a strong team, this one. I think, yeah, on paper, probably the strongest team on the grid. And yeah, I mean, anything less than a championship would probably disappoint them, really, if I'm honest.
But as you mentioned at the top of the bill, the three most successful teams in GPVWC Super League, GSR VBM, Adonis, and Evolution, had lesser skilled designers. So it could be a fascinating battle for them to maintain their validity at the front end of the field. I can't wait. What a season and what an entry list. Stepkovsky and Vike powered by RSR, Pascal and Francesconi at Maya Downard, Gomez and Sixter at Cenobite, Friedrich and Gaia at Epic, Lucchini and Russo at Green Stripes, Simicic and Pansar at Burst Esports, Mashuli and D'Alessandro at Ghost Speed, Gobby and Ragusa at GSR by VBM, Kiesmakers and Rualt at Holland Racing, Kilk and Mus at Red Archer, Spork and Lunek at Edge Esports, and we've only just got to the top teams from last year. That's a wealth of talent. Scuderia Basilia for Zappola and Alpus, Bock and Bock at Evolution, and Maguire and Dewal at Adonis. This is going to be a sizzling 2021 season. I cannot wait for that first round of the championship at Albert Park in Melbourne. It really is going to be potentially the most thrilling season we've seen yet in the Grand Prix Virtual World Championship, and we've certainly seen a few incredible titles biters over the last few seasons. Right, we've obviously seen the lineups, we've spoken about the drivers, we've rated their chances. Now I think it's time to get to know some of the competitors on the starting grid. This is, of course, one of the highlights of any preview show that we do. We love to get to know some of the faces behind the virtual race helmets. And I think it's going to be really fascinating to hear what the drivers have to say. Obviously, the drivers can pop into our broadcast room and we will chat to a fair few of them over the course of the next hour or so. The practice times will still go on in the background. And as you can see, we were talking about the highly rated Colin Spork. And look at that pace. So 1:10.4. Obviously, this is all relative because we're not going to be using the Buriram Circuit in the career ladder. But it's definitely clear to see that he is highly motivated for this 2021 season. 3/10 clear of Lauren Kiesmakers at this point. And then you have Christian Pascal for Maya Downard, Maciej Mlinek for Edge Esports, Matteo Kiesmakers in the Edge, and Federico Russo in the Green Stripes. Obviously, this is still very much early doors for the teams. They're all trying to get a bit of an indication as to how the cars are going. And it's all very, very early doors, very, very early days as well. So we've got to try and figure out how we dissect all of this information. But the early part of the season, Tom, you've been there as a driver. You've been there as an enthusiast, a competitor. The early part of the season is so important to nail these things and get them right because you have a game plan, you have a strategy, but you've got to come out of the blocks fighting. You need to have a very aggressive stance in terms of your mentality, in terms of your game plan, your strategy. Everything's got to be just so right from the start of the season. You can't afford to get out of the blocks second guessing.
No, and not only does that apply for the on-track, but the off-track as well. Specifically, basically, the R&D. You need to have a plan of what you want to do before you start, basically. You don't want to be going in halfway through the season going, oh, rubbish, I've made the wrong process. I've got to start catching up. Because I'm telling you now, you will not catch up, especially with this year where you've got the negative effects on parts as well as the positive. It's going to be really, really important to do your research for the car. So fingers crossed that they can everyone can get that done. But I know last year, for example, Adam Maguire come out of blocks running, bang, wins the championship. The two biggest ones before that I can think of was Lucas Oiler, as I mentioned before, 2012, out of nowhere, bang, great start to the season. They dominated the title for Midnight. David Feidock and Lewis Redshaw for CSG Racing in 2014. New team, came out of blocks, bang, won the championship, won the first race, absolutely dominated everyone, dominated the season. So you're right, you need to start off strong, just to at least even for the mental aspect, really, more than anything, to prove to yourself, yeah, we can do this, we've got a shot here. And as long as you can keep that momentum going, you can ride that wave all the way through the year. And like I said, Adam probably did that last year. And Adam, he had a bit of a blip mid-season, and Yannick really started to fight back, but then obviously he got himself together back in that state, and bang, he won the championship. So fingers crossed the teams can, and drivers as well, getting their heads around both the R&D system, the new rules we've got coming in about the track cuts, testing what they need to do before each race, cutting in preparation. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I've done it before. I know how much of a toll it takes and that was back before it got all really, really super serious. And I can't imagine what it'd be like these days. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to do it again. It's probably why I'm not driving a Super League anymore. But yeah, I mean, I know how important it is, and these guys are going to be under no illusions, especially Adonis, who've got to basically, like I said, they've got to prove that they're still top dog, and if bring it, boys. That's what they've got to say. Just bring it.
Indeed. Now, there is a bit of an elephant in the room as we are live on the stream here tonight for GPVWC Super League. And of course, I'm willing to address this because obviously I've been watching the chat and I've been watching the sort of the gossip and the banter within the Discord channel and the forums. And obviously, and there's always this one thing that seems to roll around when it comes to my involvement in the GPVWC. And obviously, some people are aware of the fact that obviously within the career ladder, we obviously talk a lot about Super League and we talk about Super League Lights. But there are other tiers below the Super League Lights. You have the Super Cup, and below the Super Cup you have Formula Challenge, and then below that you have the GPVWC Academy Series, which is where the new talents get the chance to freshen their skills before they start to go into the career ladder as a professional driver. So obviously people are well aware of the fact that I run a team in Formula Challenge myself. A massive thank you to everybody for convincing me to do so in the first place. We do have a team, Downforce Scale Extric Racing, and obviously there's been a lot of speculation as to whether we're going to have drivers, whether we're going to run the team, whether we're going to have any particular structure. We're on a live stream, we're on a GPVWC stream. I thought I'd drop an exclusive on you all, because you're all obviously wanting to know. You obviously want to know what is likely to happen. And do we have a driver lineup? Well, the answer is yes, we do. We do have a driver lineup. It's certainly for Australia and hopefully for the permanent part of the future. I can now tell you who is going to be our driver lineup for Australia. We are running with Patrick Magnussen, and we're also running with Magic Sandak. So that's going to be our two drivers for the Australian Grand Prix at Melbourne. Our reserve driver is going to be the FIA Karting Academy Trophy representative for the United Arab Emirates last season, and that is Keanu Al-Azari. Very, very talented racing driver. You're going to be hearing that name a hell of a lot in and out of sim racing. So there you go. That's the exclusive bombshell dropped. So now anybody wanting to know, are there going to be drivers on the grid for Downforce in Formula Challenge? Yes, they are. Messrs. Magnussen and Sandak will be our drivers for Melbourne. So there you go. A nice little exclusive dropped on you.
Yay, that's good. Good stuff. Really good to see you back. I mean, you produced Dagan Fairclough, and arguably he made the most impressive performance out of anyone, really. So
that was our entire remit as a team. You know, we've always been very keen on adapting and molding new talent. I've been trying to bring several drivers out of the world of karting into the world of esports, and I'll give a little gentle bit of a nudge towards two of the other talents that I've been convincing for several years to get into GPVWC, and then they eventually did. So I'll take full credit for the inclusion in GPVWC of both Thomas Harvey and George Whitehouse. It was a nice little link to drop them. I said, you should check this out. I think it'd be good for you. And lo and behold, it was sensational for both of them. So again, I'll take full credit for their inclusion. Hello, boys. Hope you're well. And I'm very excited to see what this 2021 season's going to bring. I will admit we haven't quite had the lineup that we had originally planned. COVID did stymie us a little bit. We were hoping to kind of develop the lineup a little bit more as things go. 2022, we'll get back to what we do a little bit more often, but two Academy stars. We've liked the look of Patrick Magnussen and Maciej Sandak. I think both of them are very, very talented. They've got good potential. So let's see what happens with them. That's a little bit there. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what the career ladder produces for us over the course of the season. We obviously talk a lot about Super League and Super League Lights, but it's obviously going to be a very entertaining season, of course, in Super Cup, as always, and Formula Challenge as well. We're going to have a strong broadcast for those whenever possible as well. You have to take into consideration as well, of course, fans, we have got a strengthened broadcast team for this year, but one of the emphases for 2021 is that our flagship series at Super League and Super League Lights, they are obviously a prime focus. We are working wherever possible to make sure that every championship within the career ladder gets a strong and sensitive level of coverage, because we feel that they're all as important as each other. I mean, look at the competitors currently in Super League. They all came in some way, shape or form from Formula Challenge. And we all know that you have to go through the motions to get to that level. So we want to make sure that the credence and the quality is as the same as it was in Super League. So obviously we're trying our best to make sure we can get there. And hopefully the 2021 season, Tom, I think we can look at the plans that we've got and look at the people behind the scenes making all of the buttons be flicked in the right directions and the PowerPoints going in the right style. But I think we're definitely heading in the right direction for a much stronger future.
Oh, 100%. I mean, even just looking at this broadcast straight away, I think everyone would agree that it looks sleeker, looks more professional. We've got the structure in place, like you said. And, I mean, this is our first broadcast with this sort of style, so it can only improve.
Session, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, we've got plenty to look forward to. So we've got, like I said before we started chatting about the calendar and stuff, we've got more on the way. We've got adverts on the way. We've got music. We've got more little clips of videos coming as well. Like I said, our aim is to try and get a broadcast out for each series. And if not, we're going to try and do something for that. We're going to try and do a highlights package. We're going to try and do even if it's a premiere, for example, on YouTube, we're going to try and get every league deserves their time in the spotlight. And
absolutely,
like you said, we've seen team drivers come from FC before, Formula Challenge. Martin Hemmington, the champion from last year, he's driving in Super League Lights this year. Obviously, the free championship when it's from last season, all happen to be at one team, but they're also going to be driving in the Super League or Super League Lights this year. So we want to be able to highlight these drivers. Like Deegan, for example. Deegan came from FC. He won the Race of Champions over the winter. So someone like that would like that. Helps you have a bit of fun watching it, but also gives you a bit of motivation to drive. You can get, after race, I can watch myself. For example, at Formula Challenge, I won the race in Baku last year, and probably one of my highlights of the year was watching that back. Not even just driving, I mean, winning it was quite nice, but like watching it back was great to watch. And I think everyone really wants that sort of thing and really enjoys that. So, like I said, I'm really, really, really good place. But fingers crossed, we can only improve.
I'm glad you brought up Deegan, actually. I think that was one of my great, good positive stories out of a very tough 2020 season. I'll go into a little bit of detail in terms of the background, because I think a lot of people were rather shocked and surprised at just how quickly Deegan did. And I have to say, nobody is more pleasantly surprised than I am. We've only actually been working with Deegan for a little over a year. Interestingly, we first discovered him about this time last year, which is quite incredible when you think about the time scale of what he's been able to do in the last season. But no, we spotted him at the Junior Saloon Car Championship Scholarship Day back in February 2020. He actually went on to win the scholarship, but all we knew of him then was that he was a very competitive, very motivated, very shy individual who was able to put in an exceptional show and really showcase his talent. And I happened to put him to one side. He said that he uses esports in his preparation and wants to continue to move his way forward. So I said to him, how serious are you about your esports? He said, I'm trying to get as good as I possibly can. I said, do you have R Factor 2? Yes. Excellent. I need a driver for my team. How interested are you? Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. Yes. Whatever opportunity. Yes, please. They're so excited, so keen. And it was quite funny. In the first couple of test sessions, I actually had messages from people. Are you sure you want to put this boy in? Are you sure you want to give this guy who has no experience, no testing, no ability at all? Are you sure he's the right one? I said, yes. Just give him the chance, give him the opportunity to grow and mold, and he'll be amazing. And Zandvoort, wasn't it? Last year, he got his first win straight out of the blocks. And fabulous. And he's just been able to draw that incredible development and wisdom. And that's what we get to see from a lot of the guys that come through Academy, through Formula Challenge. That's where you build your confidence. It's where you build your strength. I'm really excited. I know I'm obviously going to be keeping an eye on Super League and Super Cup from the commentary box in particular in 2021. But I am very, very keen, of course, to see how things go in Formula Challenge and the Academy as well. I'm a big believer in molding and shaping the talent of the future. Obviously, it's one of the reasons I'm doing what I do with the FIA Karting World and European Championships. It really is a real hotbed of talent. We see incredible competitors who are going to be Formula One drivers one day. And it's always been a massive passion of mine to see youth and exuberance move its way into the professional ranks. And here in the GPVWC, we've got so many young drivers coming through. We talk about Colin Spork. I mean, there's quite a few drivers of his youth and his ilk. We're going to see so many strong stories in 2021. I can't wait to see how this unfolds, Tom, because you've got so many of these factors that are melding into each other. You've got the established guard, you've got the youth, the young talent coming through, you've got this uncertainty over the engineering and development with the race design, the engineering, the technical directors not going to the top teams. You've got this new rule change with qualifying. You've got this new change of the track limits from track detection. There are so many factors to build into what is going to be a really strong and really exciting season. I think this has the makings of potentially being the best we've done yet.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I think I was going through with Mike Bell actually a couple of days ago. We were going through the FC grid, and we were like, we can't choose a winner. Like, we genuinely cannot choose a winner. It's not like there's maybe 1 or 2. There's about 8 or 9 people. We're like, we don't know who's going to win this season. Like, okay, you can probably figure out who's going to win a race, but like, and that's the lowest rung of the career ladder. Like, for a Formula Challenge to have that strength of depth is unbelievable, really. It's unheard of almost. So, I just think Super Cup is exactly the same. Super League Lights, exactly the same. Super League, like we've already said, okay, you may know who your top 3 teams are going to be. Your drivers, don't know. And that's what I think is brilliant about GPV. Like, you don't know who's going to win, and having that car element as well in the top 2 tiers gives that little bit of like, it gives someone a chance for someone to shine. I know Simoncic did it when he won this race in 2019 for Green Stripes. That car wasn't very good, and he dragged it to a win. So it gives someone an opportunity to improve their stock as well as obviously their on-track stuff as well. And obviously Super Cup and Formula Challenge, like I said, that's where the talent's made. Formula Challenge is going into its 10th year, I believe, of running. So Formula Challenge now 10 years old, unbelievably. And your champions come from there as well. I mean, unbelievable, really. Obviously, Super Cup and Formula Challenge are a spec series car. So everyone has the same car, and it's obviously just down to set up and driver talent at that point, rather than a car being developed. But yeah, you still see some incredible people come from there. Matthew Marnick sticks out to me straight away as someone who's won the championship before there. So there's definitely some talent all throughout the league. And who knows, you may even see some FC drivers driving Super League this year. You probably will. We did last year. So fingers crossed we'll see it all through. And obviously, like you said, the Academy Series is where Fabio Sixter, for example, started in the Academy Series. He's now a Super League race winner. So it's great to see people come through every year, come through the thing. Because I started at the bottom of the ladder and work their way up. It's really, really good to see. I think we'll see more of it again this year. But the most important question, Jake, is when are you making your debut in the Academy Series? I think that's what we all want to know.
Well, that's a good question. I was about to consider the possibility of talking about this because many people may have seen. I think this is worth mentioning as well because some people may have seen on my Instagram that while I've been out in the United Arab Emirates, I've been taking the opportunity to delve back into the world of sim racing whenever I've got an opportunity to as a competitor. And just recently, I have attained my D license in iRacing for both road racing and off-road racing. So I'm slowly building up my ability as a racing driver. I'm not going to win anything on a major scale in GPVWC anytime soon, but I'm slowly building up the acumen and the mentality to make my return to the Academy Series. I think I've only done 2 or 3 races, and I think I finished last in all of them. But I think it's absolutely sensational, the level of input that GPVWC has been putting on in the years to try and get me to come back and to keep me involved in whatever capacity I can be. So I can only reward it by trying to get myself back on the grid again in the Academy. So at some point this year, I don't know when, but at some point this year, I will be doing my best to get back into the world of GPVWC as a competitor again. I will stay well clear of anything where there's a major championship on board, obviously, because I think everyone's well aware that I could ruin a few championships, so I'm going to stay well clear of that one. So yes, I will do something at some point this year. When I am better, when I'm back with my own rig in my own home, I will get there at some point. No promises and guarantees of dates yet, but we will get to that point. Shall we interview some drivers? Because I think we're getting quite close to that point. Hoping there's a few drivers. They're obviously still very busy in terms of their race program, and they're obviously out in the cars doing their thing. But hopefully we should be able to get a handful of the drivers in so we can have a build-up. Obviously, we're not going to have time to speak to every driver in the field, but it would be really good to catch up with a few of them. Also, while we've got an opportunity to give a big up to Argo Teder, I think we should do it. Argo Teder, fantastic performance so far on the stream. It looks absolutely incredible. And if this is what we're going to be treated to in 2021, roll it on. I think it's going to be absolutely sensational. But well done to everybody on the behind the scenes, keeping an eye on everything from the running of the team, the management of everything. Absolutely sensational stuff. It's really, really good. So, and
I just want to give a quick shout out as well to the socials. So Twitter, Instagram, and like Jake said, we're going for everything. We're not just doing the broadcast. We're going for the socials. For you looking on your Instagram, your Twitters. And I know Marco Furlich has been a great job with Instagram so far. And Owen Harmon has been doing a great job with Twitter, even tonight. Has been covering the test for us. So a big prop to everyone on the media side of it. And obviously, like I said, that extends to everyone. So a really, really big thank you to everyone so far. We want to make this the best year that we at GPVWC have ever had. And I think we are well on their way with this broadcast.
It's been absolutely wonderful. Really, really exciting stuff. And I can't wait for the first race of the season. It's going to be absolutely sensational. So I need to keep the vocal cords and the internet signal connection very well ready for Super Cup and Super League. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And of course, we're going to have multiple commentators, multiple broadcast streams over the course of the season as well, ready for the Super League Championship. But we are hoping to grab a word with a few of the drivers as they finish off their preparations and we come towards the tail end of our stream. Hopefully, a few drivers will be able to join us in a brief short moment. While we're waiting for them, let's remind everybody of the race calendar for the season once again, especially for those people who weren't able to join with us right at the start of the broadcast. So hopefully we'll be able to bring up the schedule once again so people can start to put the dates in their diaries as well, their digital diaries. They can get the YouTube ping on the notification bells and everything as well. So let's remind everybody where we're going to be racing over the course of the 2021 season, because of course there is a fabulous lineup of calendars events for this 2021 campaign. We are of course starting the year in Australia at the Albert Park Circuit on the 11th of March, then off to Sakhir in Bahrain, and then we have the Shanghai Circuit returning in China, and then we have the Bud Circuit in India returning for the first time in 8 seasons. Baku in Azerbaijan, people mocked it at the start, now it is an absolute staple of the Grand Prix calendar with very thrilling and exciting races guaranteed. Red Bull Ring, Montreal and Silverstone take us to the halfway point with Hockenheim in Germany and a very welcome return indeed for Magny-Cours in France. Oh, the nostalgia. It's almost beautiful. Spa-Francorchamps and Monza with Marina Bay in Singapore, Suzuka in Japan, the Circuit of the Americas at Austin in Texas in the United States of America, rounded off by the Interlagos Circuit at Sao Paulo, Brazil. That calendar really is the best of everything, isn't it? You've got speed, you've got dynamics, you've got the technical skill, you've got the street circuits. You've got a little bit of everything there, Tom. It's one of the most rounded calendars we've had for a while.
Yeah, it is. And to see, like, to have the teams, the tracks coming back, such as China and Austria, Magny-Cours, bring those back will bring in new elements. Some teams, India will be a brand new for everyone, unless they drove in the academy last year, which I believe was why it got chosen. I know there was a big push for India to come back, and a lot of people enjoyed it, and having driven it recently myself for the first time, I can also say I enjoyed it as well. So that's going to be a cracking circuit for everyone to drive on this year in the career ladder. And yeah, it's just going to be a great, like I said, there's a bit of everything, and there'll be a lot of different elements of your driving that need to be mastered. And obviously maybe even targeting some races for your R&D. So maybe for example, you want to try and get an update for your drag done for Austria, or maybe your technical bits done for Canada, or for example. So it'd be good to see how many teams go that direction. Obviously, we have the mid-season break as well between rounds 11 and 12, Belgium and Italy. So we have basically a week off. So we actually have a month between the two, 4 weeks between the two races, rather than 2. So it gives everyone in all the series a chance to have a breather, have a rest, and get ready again for the second half of the season. Which I think actually interesting is where Adam Maguire kind of got himself back into it last year, and it's quite an important one as well. So I know, like I said before, when we were talking about it, Dennis, Adam had a little bit of a dip, but he came back to that second half of the season and he roared back. And so a chance for everyone to just recharge their batteries, recharge their motivation, just get going again for the second half, and it can make or break a championship.
It certainly can, and I hope we're going to get another nail-biting season conclusion. I think it's going to be really exciting. Right, we have some people to discuss with and chew the fat ahead of the 2021 GPVWC Super League Championship. We're getting ready for the season, and what better way to do that than by chatting to the people that will make the races the incredible factor that they are. So we're going to bring you in with a few of the competitors, and we're going to start with our dear friend Menno Clant, who has done so many incredible things both on and off the track in the GPVWC. And of course, 2021 is going to be no exception. Menno, fantastic to have you with us once again. 2021 is definitely going to be a very exciting race for you, my friend.
Yeah, and really have a very good year. I hope for the team. Looking forward to that. Of course, for my team, the role is a bit different now because last year we won both titles with Adam, and now we're the team to beat. And all the other years we were the team that was going to challenge. So yeah, that makes it a bit different. But of course, really good, and really looking forward to this upcoming season. So yeah.
Now, obviously, there's going to be that weight of expectation on the team's shoulders because of how strong things went in 2020. You haven't changed a lot in terms of the structure and the personnel within the team, but certainly, I guess, the focus has to shift to maintaining that victory performance. Last year was tough. Is 2021 going to be even tougher?
I think so. Yeah, I believe somebody said like getting on the top is quite hard, but that is achievable. But staying on top, that's really the difficult part, because if you are one of the best teams, then you always want to achieve that, but you've always got those other challengers that will try, that are hungry and want to try to steal it away from you. So yeah, it's a very interesting season, I think, for us at Adonis. But we're up for the challenge, and I still believe we are the best team out there. Of course, I need to say that as the team was the best team from last year. But yeah, we've got a lot of competition, and that makes it really good. It makes it if you win, then it makes it really sweet, and you're really proud when you get that. And so I think the competition will be very strong, and I can see several teams that have really good lineups that will challenge our team very hard. So yeah, that's will be very interesting. And
to talk about this to a certain extent, Menno, because obviously you guys have managed to acquire the services of not just Adam to come back, but the Super League Lights champion in Liam DeWaal, the Super Cup champion in Alessandro Quintai. I mean, you really have managed to get, the three champions on board one team. I mean, how did that come about to make sure you had all three of them within the same unit? And, does that add more pressure in terms of knowing that you have the three top level champions from GPVWC last season? So I suppose, is there a sort of mentality that you guys must win?
Well, I don't think there's a mentality that we must win. I think we're also in there to have a lot of fun. But yeah, we're pushing very hard, and of course, because they all won a championship in GPV last year. Of course, they will be one of the favorites when entering the track. But yeah, like I said, it's all about also having a good time, and the spirit within the team is really good. I feel everybody is really willing to help each other, and that's the vibe within the team is amazing, and it was that last year, and that's also what made us win both titles, and and we want to continue on that, and it looks really good. So I think I'm really happy that the team is that good, and that's why I think we didn't change, because we've got all the quality with both the race drivers, which both are extremely talented. Of course, Adam won the title, but also Liam, who he only won one Super League race, but the guy has so much potential, which I think 2021 will show that Liam will then do the whole season, and he will be I think nearly unstoppable. So there will be really good to see that. And also with my reserve Alessandro, he is also very very talented, and I'm pretty sure that he will be a Super League race winner, if not more, for the future. So I think future looks also really good for us also this season, but in last seasons, I would say 2017 2018, it was not always the case. So we now got the momentum as the team, and let's hope it will stay for a while like this. But it looks really good at the moment. So
Sounds fantastic. Tom, do you have any questions for Menno ahead of the new season?
Oh, I have two. Menno, you lucky boy. So, first question. You got to be honest, Menno, and I don't want a diplomatic answer. What do you think your biggest challenges are going to be for the title?
Oh, biggest challenge. Ooh. I think I would say the biggest challenges would be, if I need to name one, as a team, I would say Evolution with both the Bog brothers. But you also got a few very good drivers at other teams. So well, if Gianni is on the track, he is also capable of always bringing something special. I think it's like watching F1 when you see Lewis Hamilton and you see Max Verstappen. You always know that always when you watch F1, they bring something special, and that's what people like Gianni can do as well. And I think we've got a few drivers in GPV who can bring something on the track every time they go on and on the track. So I think Evolution and Gianni are very good, but we've got more. So it's really difficult to actually say what will happen, because we didn't see the running order and how everybody will go with the mod.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. That's not too bad. Good answer. Okay, so my second one, and this is probably going to be more of an important one, really, in terms of how the season pans out. As we alluded to earlier on the stream, you actually missed out on the technical director that you wanted for. How is that going to affect you in terms of your development for this year, or is it going to be not too much of an important factor in terms of what people are making it out to be?
Well, I think with the designer, the technical director, of course, it's always good to have the best one available. Like, everybody would like to have Adrian Newey in the team. It will give you, I think, a bit of a head start, but it's not too big. So you just need to hire a decent one, I would say, and everything just helps, of course, if you have a better one. But I think we will now bid for our design, and I think we will still have a very decent car. So I'm not worried about that.
There you go. You heard it. He's not worried. He said there, he's not worried. He said it, So now when it gets to like 3 or 4 races in and he's worried, we can replay this interview.
Yeah. Well.
And we'll tell you. You said you weren't worried.
He's crying. You've got Adam in tears in the corner. You're just like, oh, what's going on?
No, it's all about the team. I think looking back at giving you another F1 reference. Just look at what Racing Point did all those years, and Force India before that. Like they didn't have all the top names, but they always produced amazing cars. So it's all about the teamwork and how they say it, teamwork makes the dream work.
That's very true. That's why so many of my friends in the Formula One paddock genuinely think that in 2022, Aston Martin are going to be world champions. There you go. That's a bombshell and a half. Menno, we will talk many times, I'm sure, over the course of 2021. It's going to be fantastic to see how your boys get on. Good luck with it, and I hope there's another strong attack for you and the Adonis Engineering team. Thank you so much for talking to us.
I expect that. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Right, we have another team manager to wander into the booth, and this is a very exciting season ahead for the Epic Racing team. So let's talk to the team's owner. Let's talk to Lee Davidson, who's got quite a mission on his hands in 2021. Lee, welcome to the commentary booth. Thank you for joining us in the broadcast room. I'm going to come straight out there with the very first question. Fidek and Gaia, well done for bringing the dream team back together. How's it going to go in 2021?
The dream team, I like that. I'll use that for our social media this season, actually. That's good. I'll note that down. Yeah, no, very exciting, actually. Very exciting lineup for our return to Superleague Racing after a year out. And I couldn't be happier with the two guys I've got moving forward.
And certainly the pace is already there in testing. I mean, David's just banged in a 1:10.1, and Florian is there in the 1:11s and 1:12s. I mean, you guys definitely seem to have a little bit of renewed vigor for 2021. Tell us what the thinking was for getting back in and how the deal to bring David and Flo back into a partnership came about.
Yeah, well, the sabbatical last year was kind of a personal choice that I soon regretted as soon as the COVID situation happened, basically, because I had nothing to do. I kind of got I dipped my toes back in by taking caretaker management of Mad Cape for the second half of last year, which went pretty well. We had Fabio Six doing some good places in certain races, and Jeff Fournier made a little cameo at the end of the year at Interlagos and reminded us how good he is. But then, I mean, I've been wanting to work with David, especially for a few years now. We came very close to a deal a couple of seasons ago for him to drive at Epic, and things didn't work out. Basically, he ended up at ATR, I think it was that year. And then, we started talking again during the second half of last year, just kind of like catching up sort of thing, really. And one thing led to another, and opportunity came to sign him. So, we got him on board, and during the off season, he seems like he's refound the spark after a couple of seasons out of sorts, shall we say. And then, we had a second seat come available, and Flo was the obvious choice with their history and their partnership. They seem to know each other like the back of their own hands. So it was a no-brainer, really. As soon as Flo was available, I thought, just sign him on. The partnership's back on, and we'll see where it takes us.
I think it's going to be very exciting. Now, let's talk a little bit about the regulation changes for this year. From a team manager's perspective, obviously, these are things that you obviously need to be aware of and build into the game plan and the strategy for 2021. So the first thing I want to talk about is qualifying. Just how big a difference is that going to make to the spectacle and the show for this season? And how big a victory is this for the Super League managers to get some change that's actually really going to benefit each of the teams out there, not just one?
I mean, you got to look at it, and I don't necessarily consider it a victory as such. I don't think you can consider it that way, because it's not necessarily you're right, you're wrong sort of thing. But I think what you got to consider is that at the end of the day, we're sim racing, and so we can take advantages of what sim racing can offer that real racing necessarily can't. And if that means you can give each driver a perfect condition for them to nail a hot lap, the best lap that they possibly could, without, say, having to rely on draft or track position or anything like that, then it's a bit of a no-brainer to allow them to have that capability, to give them the opportunity to really show on a single lap with the pressure on what they made of, sort of thing. So in my head, it was a bit of a no-brainer that with qualifying, private quali was the way to go. Most of the grid seemed to agree as well with the results. So it'd be interesting to see how the drivers adapt to that. Because I can't imagine every driver will prefer private quali. There'll be some drivers that prefer traffic management and stuff like that. So I think it will mix up a little bit of the order. But in terms of spectacle, I think the spectacle will still be there. The cars are still doing the fastest laps they'll do all meet. And I think it'll be a really interesting change.
It's great to get your take on it. Tom, do you have any questions for Lee ahead of the new season with Epic?
Oh, plenty, but I'll keep it to one. So you've gone with Minotaur for the engine this year, and obviously they are a new supplier for the year. Why, basically? What attracted you to Minotaur rather than Valiant or Reventon or Kaiser?
Well, quite simply, Nikos. There's no secret that me and Nikos have worked together in the past. We go back a few years now, and as soon as he was putting the engine tender in, I was the first customer in line, basically. It was a no-brainer. I rate Nikos' technical abilities second to none, so I trust him very much to deliver a top product that's going to help us win races.
Yeah, I think I pretty much said the same thing. I said of all the technical minds in this league, I'd say Mike Pittman and Nikos, Avengers of the Darkest, are the two like you would want developing an engine. And obviously Mike is telling people to go away, so natural choice goes to Nikos, doesn't it, really?
I mean, that fired the other year, didn't it? But yeah, so fair enough. Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. But yeah, good stuff. And I see your drivers have just finished your laps. So
they have indeed.
I think they're coming in.
They are coming in. Yeah, they are coming in.
Appearance.
I've just got one more question for you personally, Lee, ahead of this season, and this is obviously going to be awkward now that David has joined us. Hello, David. I haven't forgotten you. We've got this new, this reinvigorated partnership, this lineup coming back, and obviously, this partnership with Nikos through the Minotaur engine, it's going to be operating again. Do you feel that there's a pressure to perform, or are you guys not really thinking like that coming into the season? Is this just about enjoying what GPVWC is all about at the Super League level?
To be honest, I don't know what people's expectations of us are this year. I think we're going to kind of vary in opinion, but from internally, we've put a lot of pressure on ourselves, I think, because we want to win. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have come back and we wouldn't have put all the testing mileage that we've done to no use. So we're going to turn up at Oz, and we want to repeat 2018. Basically, we want to nail it from the get-go. I've got 2 very capable drivers who have won races and championships in the past, so I've got no concerns there. And I mean, there's absolutely no reason why we can't win races and start challenging for the title.
Fantastic. Thanks for talking to us, Lee. We're looking forward to seeing how you guys get on in the 2018 season. You may well want to stick around just in case your drivers decide to drop you in it.
I'll be here.
So you got to watch what you say now, boys, because the boss is listening. Really excited to get these 2 back together. 2 of my favourite characters in the GPVWC paddock, and it feels like 2018 all over again for me. David Feidick for the Epic Racing team. Let's come to you first of all. David, this is clearly going to be another opportunity for you to delve back into GPVWC Super League at a level you enjoy, with a team that you clearly seem to have a strong early impression of. How are things heading into this 2021 season campaign?
Really good. This has been one of my strongest pre-season tests, or pre-seasons in general, for a long time, probably since 2015. We've got to grip with the car early, and I'm enjoying the tyres for now. I think they're about to change. So yeah, everything's going to plan. I'm back with Flo, who everyone knows. We get on so well. We know each other now, and yeah, thankfully Lee finally signed me. I tried to get there a few years ago, but he had commitments with Jeff and I can't remember the other driver, but he said one day. So when I knew he was coming back, I said one day, and here we are.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we have so many great bonds in GPVWC. It's not just a sim racing series; it is a strong community. And I guess, one of the flavors of the championship, one of the things that makes it so appealing, is the opportunity to work with people that you really get a good vibe from, and that you really get a good understanding of sort of the direction you guys want to do it. Is that essentially what this partnership with Epic Racing is about for you?
Definitely. I've been around here for a while, so the league itself feels like home, and you just know everyone inside and out. But there's close personal relationships you get with everyone. Like myself, Lee, I'm close with Mike and Will, and a few others. DJ's an amazing character. I hope he gets on with us soon. But yeah, it just boosts the morale of the old team, and it allows you to push those and find those extra few temps that you wouldn't have found before. It sounds weird, but yeah, morale is a lot.
I think it's going to be really, really exciting. And while we're talking about the partnership between you and Flo, I think we should have a word with Flo while you guys are in the room together. Florian Gaia, good to see you back in the paddock once again and with the Epic Racing team. I know we've already talked about it to a certain extent in terms of what the creation of the team and the return of the team means to Super League competition in GPVWC. But from your perspective, I mean, I'm guessing you're going to echo the sentiments, but this is a chance for you to get back to doing what you're good at and what you love doing.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Yes, I have to agree with everything Dave said. I'm really glad I got this opportunity to once again travel alongside him. And with Lee, we got an amazing team boss. And yeah, that's not much to say, really. I mean, preseason, I had started a bit late. I had some problems in the past, especially last year, and wasn't easy for me. And I had to stop sim racing and focus on life, really, and get this stuff straight. And but yeah, I'm in a better place now, so I can focus on this and try to make the best of it, and really show that I can really hang with the front. I still can, I believe so.
Cool. I mean, you haven't forgotten how to be a pro sim race driver. You complimented the team boss very, very quickly there. So that's a great Christmas hamper you've got coming your way in December. Excellent. Good job. There's a great team dynamic with you and David. I mean, what is it about the working relationship that you two have? It's not just a friendship and a like-mindedness, but you two really do seem to just get each other when it comes to car development, when it comes to race strategy, when it comes to getting the best out of a package. is there a particular secret ingredient, or is it just one of those elements? It just kind of clicks when the two of you work together.
Well, for me personally, it's like how do I say it? In the past, let's say, doesn't matter what year or what it is. It's like that in general. Let's say Dave puts out any kind of lap time, and the next time I'm on or we're on together, I try to beat that, and it's how it continues on and on. And the same thing goes for car development. Like we just try to do the best for each other, and it's not like there's any ego involved or anything. That's also not, I wouldn't really call it a special ingredient. For me, it's just trying to work the best for the other guy and get the best out of him. And then we just end up where we end up, and that's in the past been pretty good.
Fantastic. I mean, what from your personal perspective, obviously, we know that you guys have in the past challenged for race wins and you've challenged for a title campaign, and this is obviously going to be a tough year. There's no doubt about it, because obviously with Epic Racing having been away for a year, it is going to be difficult, but we know that they can win. So obviously there is the ability to work forward, and there is going to be that chance for you guys to get back towards the front. What are your own personal targets and expectations coming into this season, or are you deliberately not setting yourself any?
Myself or
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I wouldn't, or let's say I would be wrong here if I wouldn't go for a win. But you also have to be realistic. This grid is probably the strongest it ever been. So, from a confidence standpoint, and considering my past 3 years, I would be pretty stupid to go out and say I win Melbourne. What I hope for is a different matter. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. If I really can score points on a consecutive or consistent base, let's say that like that, I would be pleased, but I really always want more. So let's say, I don't know, points for now and then build upwards. And I don't really want to sound stupid and say I win the title. That's unrealistic. I mean, I hope for it, but yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean.
The trouble is these days, of course, David and Flo, I mean, you know, you guys are like me, we're old school, and it's all these young whippersnappers that are coming in and trying to show us all how it's done. And we still need to show these guys that, you know, experience counts for a heck of a lot. David, I guess I want to ask the same question. You know, is there any expectations or targets from your side, or is this basically going to be, you know, sort of an evolution of what we've seen from you in the past?
I didn't really want to set a target until after the first two races, because Flo said this is probably one of the strongest grids we've had. Yeah, it's hard to predict what's going to happen, but I heard you and Tom talking earlier about the driver lineups and when you got to our team, and when I was talking to Tom last year about not knowing where the pace is, not knowing where the car is. But this is the first time for a long time I know where the car is, I know where I am with the tyres, and we're all agreeing with the same R&D strategy as well. It's painful, you know, not being where I was in 2014, 15, even up to the latter stages of 17 with that race with Rudy. That was one of my outstanding drives, and I've not been able to repeat anything since. So this year it needs to be a changing year for me. I can't settle for what I've done for the last 2 years. And like you just said, with the younger guys coming in, it's not so much the younger guys, it's the R Factor 2 tyre model that Flo and even Tom, I hope you don't mind me saying, Tom, struggle with.
I'm probably for tyres anyway.
That's been our main struggle with this game. So it's just trying to get on top of that and learning how to adapt around those tyres, and hopefully then it'll be pushing us back to the front of the grid. So yeah, I mean, right now, because of the last 2 seasons, I guess I could be happy with top 10s, but I'd like to be near the top 5 for now, based on the last 2 years. But obviously, if I didn't think I could win, then I wouldn't turn up at all. So that's going to be obviously the aim. But yeah, I don't think a title push is there this year. But yeah, we'll see how things go race by race.
Okay, well, you never know what could happen mid-season. You guys might have a much stronger package than you think. We're all hoping for a really positive and strong season. Tom, I know that you are brewing with questions. I can just sense it, even from this social distance that we have. I can sense that there's 1 or 2 niggling little questions that you've got for, what is quickly becoming known as the dream team. You've got to. I've got to unleash that cork in the bottle. Go on, far away with David and Flo. So,
mainly towards Dave and Flo, because obviously you've been part of championship winning teams before. Obviously to Lee as well as the team owner, really. R&D, big shake-up for this year. Obviously from 7 to 11. David and Flo, you've seen DCS's spreadsheets and all that. I imagine you've had to recreate those sort of things this year to sort it out, because it's completely new. And how are you finding the negative impacts of stuff affecting your development for this year? I know you touched on it briefly, David, but what differences have you had to make for this preseason for the R&D?
You say spreadsheet, more like a blank notepad at the minute, because the negative effect is so crazy. It's like, should we just leave the car blank and don't do updates for the year? Because the negative impact on some of the parts is just outdo the main parts. So there's been a lot of testing and a lot of confusion in the team, not knowing where to go at first, and no offense to Robin and Chris, but waiting for those tires to come along so we can decide on which part of the car to go with. But yeah, it's really confusing, and it's thrown so much up in the air that I don't even know what to say, because it's that thrown up in the air,
Yeah, it's been a disrupted off-season, but I think it has been for the majority of the grid, to be fair. And I kind of see that as an advantage, because a lot of the bigger teams up at the top end of the grid don't have nearly as much time as they probably would have to hone their R&D strategies and stuff like that. So it might turn out to be a great equalizer more than anything.
Stuff, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's hard to know, isn't it? Especially with such a new, radical system like this. But yeah, it's I'm sure you guys will figure it out. Like I said, you've all been part of championship winning teams before, so if I could trust anyone, it's you boys. But that's it for me. I'll leave it at that. We're already running over time.
We are running over time. Yeah, there's going to be some interesting battles, no doubt. But we wish the dream team of David Feilich and Florian Guy, and of course team boss Lee Davidson at Epic Racing, all the best for the 2021 season. Godspeed and keep it rocking. Thank you very much indeed, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, as you mentioned, Tom, we have managed to run over time ever so slightly. I don't think there's too many complaints about it. We really have enjoyed returning you to the world of GPVWC Super League. The testing session is going to continue on into the closing stages. But Tom, what a way to build into it. It's going to be a fantastic season. So many new elements, new teams, new drivers, the old guard returning, the championship battle from 2020 likely to continue into 2021, the new technical regulations, the technical designers causing us all sorts of intrigue, the new qualifying system, everything. It just looks like that on paper this could be the most dramatic, the most sensational, the most exciting season we've created so far.
I really hope so. We've done a lot of work over the winter in all aspects of the league, and I think even from now we're starting to see the fruition of it. So fingers crossed, we keep this high wave going, and in more than 2 weeks' time, hopefully we would have already had four amazing series go through with Academy, Formula Challenge, Super Cup, and Super League Lights, and we'll be able to grace the Super League season with welcome arms.
It's my pleasure, as always, to be beside you, Tom. I'm really looking forward to a full season campaign. We'll do our best Murray and Martin impersonation over the course of the season, I'm sure. But it's been really good to hang out with you again. It's been a long time, and I can't wait to do it full time. It's going to be a great year. Thanks, Tom.
Hey, fella, looking forward to it. Can't wait. And yeah, brilliant stuff. Happy days. All very, very happy.
Excellent. So the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, is give the GPVWC team a few weeks. give the regulations and the technical rules a bit of a shake-up and get some motivated team managers and some race drivers and test drivers a little bit of time to perfect their skills, and a new car and a new race calendar. And what have you got? A sizzling season in prospect, and it's going to be one of the most spectacular we've ever had, from Australia in Albert Park in Melbourne, all the way through to Interlagos at Sao Paulo, Brazil. You're going to see 16 fantastic races, some sensational race battles, and hopefully a very worthy champion crowned at the end of it all. My name's Jake Sanson. Hope you've been enjoying the GPVWC Super League test session and preview for the season. You can join us again for Super League action on March the 11th, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic from Albert Park in Melbourne. For all the latest updates, you can join the GPVWC.com website and, of course, the Discord group, which is on the YouTube comments box. Do please get involved if you want to compete or if you just want to get a little bit closer to the sport. 2021 is set to be an absolutely sensational season. Don't believe me? Tune in on March the 11th and find out.